parts of Atlanta, and that's little robots that go up and down the sidewalk delivering food. And it means that quick delivery to you is more reliable and cheaper. So when you see the goofy little thing on a sidewalk when you're at a red light, you'll know that's what it is.
Better prices, better views. Window comfort, meant just for you. Window Comfort.
Don't be fooled by the big box brands. Window Comfort's exclusive window line is custom built for Georgia weather, installed by in-house pros and guaranteed never to fog. With factory direct pricing, it's affordable for everyone. Go to windowcomfort.com for real quality that lasts.
Better prices, better views. Window Comfort, meant just for you. Window Comfort.
News, weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 12 o'clock on this Wednesday, September 17th. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. The news here at noon is sponsored by Jim Ellis Automotive. Our top story is happening right now. Former CDC Director Dr. Susan Manera is testifying before a Senate committee about her firing.
I could have kept the office, the title, but I would have lost the one thing that cannot be replaced. My integrity.
She says she was fired for refusing to pre-approve vaccination recommendations without scientific evidence and not firing top CDC officials without cause.
I was fired for holding the line on scientific integrity, but that line does not disappear with me. It now runs through every parent deciding whether to vaccinate a child, every physician counseling a patient, and every American who demands accountability.
Now, today's hearing comes one day before the Vaccine Advisory Panel meets for 2 days. They'll be considering several vaccines, including the COVID-19 vaccine, as well as those against hepatitis B, measles, mumps, rubella, as well as RSV. Your weather for today, partly cloudy and isolated rain showers possible and a high of 87. How's the rest of your work week looking? We'll have Atlanta's most accurate and dependable 5-day forecast coming up at 12:05. Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger, the latest candidate to jump into the race for governor here in Georgia.
The Trump factor will play a key role in the outcome of the GOP primary, and Kennesaw State political science professor Dr. Kerwin Swint says that will be a serious hurdle for Raffensperger.
He's going to have trouble convincing enough Republican voters to vote for him, even though he's a conservative, but he's not seen as a pro-Donald Trump Republican, which is a big problem for him.
He expects Raffensperger will move to more publicly align himself with the president, who has already endorsed Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones in the primary. Jonathan O'Brien, 95.5 WSB.
New here at noon, dramatic opening statements in the trial of an alleged gang member charged with murdering a little girl as she rode in the back of a Jeep near an illegal street barrier in the summer of 2020.
8. That's how Fulton County Prosecutor Adam Abadi opened his statement to the jury of Julian Conley. Victim Sequoia Turner was 8, and 8 bullets entered the SUV that night.
What Charmaine will tell you is in the moment since the gunfire is occurring, she hears her daughter cry out, "Mama, Mama, I've been shot."
But Julian Conley's attorney, Arnold Regas, counters.
And make no mistake about it, the evidence will prove that he did not commit this crime.
He says the bullet trajectory and the witnesses' statements don't line up with Conley's position or look that night, and Atlanta police rushed to judgment. Veronica Waters, 95.5 WSB.
A mother behind bars in Cobb County after her child was found bloody and wandering alone in a Kennesaw neighborhood.
Neighbors spotted the child all alone on the street and called Kennesaw police, who set out to find the child's parents.
We were unable to find them initially, but tracked back to their house and found the mother and father both intoxicated.
Kennesaw police spokesman David Buchanan says the mother, Brittany Anderson, was charged with reckless conduct and cruelty to children. The child's father was also arrested, but suffered a medical emergency, was taken to the hospital, and later died.
The child is with grandmother and doing great.
Lisa Nicholas, 95.5 WSB.
A Waleska man will serve 15 years in prison for the violent attack of a woman that he was having a relationship with nearly 3 years ago. The Cherokee County District Attorney's Office saying today 24-year-old Logan Ben Jordan entered a guilty plea on multiple charges in the case of domestic violence. The attack left the woman with bruising on her neck, face, and body, along with post-traumatic stress disorder that continues to affect her daily life. All right, this could impact you and your family if you have kids that play contact sports. A new study today finds head injuries from contact sports can cause brain cell loss long before the onset of CTE. Boston University researcher Jonathan Cherry says parents should rethink their approach to youth sports.
We're really showing that this repetitive head trauma from playing these contact sports is more of a problem than just CTE. There's a lot of changes that are happening early in these young individuals.
He says what they found in the brains of those who had played contact sports shocked them. It included inflammation, loss of brain cells, and blood vessel damage, even in those who never developed CTE. J.D. Power out with its annual rankings for the country's best airports, and we have learned that Hartsfield-Jackson International is on the list. It ranked 15th when it comes to mega airports. And the Federal Reserve could cut interest rates today for the first time this year. This would mean that you'd pay less for car loans, credit cards. Elizabeth Schultz reports this noon that the move comes as data shows a slowdown in the job market.
What the Fed is really trying to do here is to stimulate hiring in the economy amid a stalling jobs market. The Fed chairman, Jerome Powell, has acknowledged one reason that the jobs market is facing challenges right now is because of a slowdown in immigration. So take this stat. So far this year, between January and June, data from Pew Research and the Census Bureau shows that there have been 1.2 million fewer immigrants in the workforce.
And that Fed announcement expected at 2 this afternoon. It's time now for live team coverage of traffic and weather. Alex Williams in the WSB 24-hour traffic center.
Hey, Sabrina, right now watching that jam on the south side perimeter. It's that rolling construction in DeKalb County, 285 eastbound, the outer loop. Right now, they're passing Flat Shoals Road, exit 48, heading up toward I-20. They're in and out of 1 to 2 left lanes, so that's why you're jammed up back towards 675 and Boulder Crest Road. 285 westbound, the inner loop is also slow, leaving I-75, getting around the airport and through those airport tunnels due to a stalled big rig in 3 right lanes. You can use Forest Parkway. And travel advisory into Kennesaw, right lane construction, 75 northbound at Barrett Parkway, exit 269. Highway 41 Cobb Parkway will scoot you around that. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
Your 5-day forecast sponsored by Shoemate, the official air conditioning of Atlanta.
Partly cloudy skies this afternoon. An isolated rain shower or thunderstorm possible. Today's high is 87. Lows tonight falling to the mid-60s. A few more isolated rain showers possible for tomorrow morning. Tomorrow afternoon, partly cloudy, high 88. Friday, mostly sunny skies. Morning lows in the mid-60s. Daytime high near 90. Saturday and Sunday, partly cloudy with isolated pop-up showers possible. Highs in the upper 80s.
More news at 12:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
Okay, friends, it's the 5K a day bonus blitz. Your noon keyword is fund, F-U-N-D, fund. Enter the keyword fund into the WSB Radio app or at WSBRadio.com/cash. You have until 12:30 p.m. to enter the keyword. Win $1,000. The keyword is fund, F-U-N-D. Don't forget, if you get a call after 12:30 from a number you don't recognize, answer it. Could be us telling you you won $1,000. Keyword is fund.
America, it's Eric Erickson here across the United States. I'm delighted to have you with me. I'm going to, tread dangerous ground here. I know it's dangerous ground because I said on social media what I was going to talk about, and wow, did it drive people on the left insane, that I would suggest the left has a murder industrial complex. But I think they do. I think it speaks for itself. I want to go back to the district attorney in Utah County, Utah. I think his name is John Gray. And the Media Research Center helpfully compiled some of the audio here. Credit to the Media Research Center. They do such great work consistently. I need to play you the audio from the district attorney there, because I need to set the stage here for you. This is the district attorney, Utah County, Utah.
Not answering. Robinson, since Trump got into office, my dad has been pretty diehard MAGA. Robinson, I'm going to turn myself in willingly. One of my neighbors here is a deputy for the sheriff. Again, you are all I worry about, love. That came from Robinson. Roommate, I'm much more worried about you. Robinson, don't talk to the media, please. Don't take any interviews or make any comments. If any police ask you questions, ask for a lawyer and stay silent. The search for Robinson's residence. Police executed a search warrant on Robinson's residence. During that search, police discovered a shell casing with etchings like the etchings found on the shells in the rifle near UVU.
That's the district attorney. One more clip from him.
Robinson's mother explained that over the last year or so, Robinson had become more political and had started to lean more to the left, becoming more pro-gay and trans rights oriented. She stated that Robinson began to date his roommate, a biological male who was transitioning genders. This resulted in several discussions with family members, but especially between Robinson and his father, who have very different political views. In one conversation before the shooting, Robinson mentioned that Charlie Kirk would be holding an event at UVU, which Robinson said was a stupid venue for the event. Robinson accused Kirk of spreading hate.
You got that? That's the district attorney saying those things. The mother said that he was leaning more and more left. The mother saying that he was becoming essentially radicalized. The mother, of course, saying that he and his father had differing views. Robinson telling his partner that his father had gone full MAGA. Robinson becoming more pro-gay rights, more pro-transgenderism, and Charlie Kirk was spreading hate. Now listen to this. Listen to this exchange from Caitlin Collins to Ted Cruz.
You said a lot there, and we don't have a motive yet. We don't know yet. We're waiting. Obviously, we've heard what the governor's had to say, what the FBI director said today.
Come on, we don't have a motive yet.
We know
we don't have a motive yet.
What's
really?
happening with
really? That's CNN's position.
I mean, from law enforcement,
he just happened
Senator.
to fire the gun.
From law enforcement, we don't have you just heard the district attorney say this today. This is last night. This is Caitlin Collins after the district attorney press conference.
Celebration. You can't tell the motive.
Senator, that's not what I said. And I said law enforcement hasn't laid out a direct motive. They've laid out a lot of evidence here of these messages and what
actually,
the
they
shooter
have.
said to
They've said that
family
he was a
members
left-wing
and to
activist who
roommates.
hated Charlie Kirk. Pardon?
Senator, with all due respect, you know exactly what I'm saying. I'm not arguing with you politically. I'm saying that law enforcement has not put a specific motive. You know that there's a difference of what they're putting in a legal argument than what you're talking about.
Wait. What they're putting in a legal argument is the motive, you idiot. Again, this is the district attorney, chief law enforcement officer within the county, the district attorney, the prosecutor.
Robinson's mother explained that over the last year or so, Robinson had become more political and had started to lean more to the left, becoming more pro-gay and trans rights oriented. She stated that Robinson began to date his roommate, a biological male who was transitioning genders. This resulted in several discussions with family members, but especially between Robinson and his father, who have very different political views. In one conversation before the shooting, Robinson mentioned that Charlie Kirk would be holding an event at UVU, which Robinson said was a stupid venue for the event. Robinson accused Kirk of spreading hate.
Caitlin Collins, I realize I went to law school and practiced criminal law, and you didn't. You're just a journalist. But as a lawyer who practiced criminal law, I'm sorry that the district attorney did not bring out a band, strike up the drums, and say, announcement of the motive, before he said that. But there's your motive, Caitlin Collins. There's your motive. The fact that Caitlin Collins would argue with Ted Cruz, who, by the way, is a brilliant lawyer, whether you like him or not, he's arguably a brilliant lawyer. I'm baffled by, and again, the murder industrial complex of the left. You can talk about right-wing violence all you want, but if it's left-wing violence, there's got to be a butt Trump angle. In fact, this is the conversation with Scott Jennings after the governor of Pennsylvania gave a both sides do it speech.
He's got a point.
Well, I think his point would be strengthened if he were honest today about who burned his house down. You know, it was a Free Palestine leftist who came and burned down the governor's mansion. He left that out. He left that out of his tweet today, and he's talking about cherry-picking political violence, and we're talking about where there might be political violence. The violence against the governor of Pennsylvania and his family came from the left. And so I think, look, I think there's a rush by Democrats who want to be president in 2028 to try to turn. Somehow Donald Trump's friend gets shot, and now everybody wants to blame Donald Trump for it. I guess that's what you have to do to get elected president. as a Democrat.
We are not doing that sitting here, okay? And Kate,
I'm
please
sorry.
go ahead.
Is that not what's happening? People are pointing.
The governor's point is that it doesn't matter where the violence came from.
I think it might.
Should be condemned.
Shouldn't it matter the
regardless,
motivations of the people?
It should be condemned regardless. Is the entire point
Agreed.
of his speech.
Don't
So
you
to
care
sit
about
here-
the motivations?
To sit here and suggest that somehow him not mentioning it was some sort of sleight of hand,
Of course it
to try
is.
to make it seem like it was.
I don't
someone
think
else's
his political
fault.
party
You
would
missed
accept
the
it.
entire point of what he was saying, and it's.
See, none of them can allow Scott Jennings to make that point. Caitlin Collins, they can't talk about the motive of the left. It is their murder industrial complex. They will excuse it. And you know where they're headed with this, by the way? They're headed with this to, this guy's a civil rights icon. That's right. They're already beginning to say, Montel Williams last night on TV says he was protecting his trans partner. This is Matt Gutman, a reporter from ABC News after the press conference. Again, thanks to Media Research Center for these two clips I'm about to play.
We have seen an alleged murder with such specific text messages about the alleged murder weapon, where it was hidden, how it was placed, what was on it, but also it was very touching in a way that I think many of us didn't expect. A very intimate portrait into this relationship between the suspect's roommate and the suspect himself, with him repeatedly calling his roommate who is transitioning, calling him my love, and I want to protect you, my love. So it was.
By the way, you should note, he never said, I want to protect you. Matt Gutman made that up in the report. There's no text that says, I want to protect you. But Matt Gutman at ABC News claims that there's a text message that says, I want to protect you. I can't find it. Other people look, they can't find it. But wait, that was him immediately after the press conference. Here he is later on, having had time to reflect on what he heard, not a spontaneous reaction.
It is. It's heartbreaking on so many levels, Kira. Obviously, Charlie Kirk was murdered brutally in front of a crowd of thousands of people who watched him being shot through the neck and then essentially bleed out in front of him. And I think one of the things that the attorney here made a very fine point about is that a lot of these charges, 7 charges, were aggravated because children were present. Children witnessed this. Children were put in harm's way. And that was something that obviously is aggravating here, and that's one of the reasons that the suspect, in addition to the alleged murder being political in nature, is facing the death penalty. They're going for the death penalty. And on the other hand, there is this duality of a portrait of a very human person, a very human experience from this entire family. As you mentioned it, the mother who essentially discovered that it was her son who had done this, the kid who had got a 34 out of 36 on the ACTs, who had a 4.0, who got a full ride to college here, that kid was the one who allegedly perpetrated. She saw those pictures and said, identified him essentially. And then those text messages, and I don't think I've ever experienced a press conference in which we've read text messages that are so fulsome, so robust, so apparently, allegedly self-incriminating, and yet on the other hand, so touching. Right, with the suspect reaching out to his roommate, who is allegedly his boyfriend, who we understand, identified as male at birth, now identifies as female. And the terminology he used, he was trying to protect him. He kept calling him my love. My reason for doing this is to protect you, but also asking him to delete the messages.
Except he never did say, I'm doing this to protect you. You should see Kobe in here. Kobe running the board, just like infuriated with what he's. Oh, this is the media trying to circle wagons around an assassin. Caitlin Collins can't pronounce the motive, even though the district attorney gave us the motive. Matt Gutman willing to say on ABC it was political, saying it was to protect his trans partner, his love. Roger Solenberger, who writes for the Daily Beast, and I quote, if we pretend we're in 1950 and swap out the trans stuff for an interracial relationship, that might be a helpful place to start, but it's still all pretty fresh with more to learn. He was protecting the person he loved. You got that? The left doesn't have to account for its violence. If somebody does something on the right, There are lots of lectures from the media about Donald Trump inciting it, his handling of the Paul Pelosi attack, how bad it was, January 6th, all of that, account. When there's left-wing murder that is political, so we don't know the motive. We have no idea. It was done for love. It wasn't politics. It was love. We have to understand it was bad, but it was for love. Love conquers all. We've been in Trump. There's no accountability. The media has become the left's murder industrial complex. They will justify, they will deflect, they will circle the wagons, they will do everything they possibly can to avoid looking at the problem. And here's the problem. 25% of very progressive individuals in this country say they are acceptable with violence in politics. A significant number of 18 to 25-year-old progressives say they are okay with violence in politics. 70% of people on the left say they wouldn't be in a relationship with people on the right. 60% say it's okay to break up friendships with people on the right. And they are the overwhelming demographic suffering from despair because they think the world is coming to an end. And Donald Trump is a would-be tyrant, second coming of Hitler, unless he is stopped. And that's fueled by their murder industrial complex called the American mainstream media. This is only the beginning of left-wing violence in this country because the press corps, CNN, not MSNBC, which is a left-wing network, CNN, which pretends it's not a left-wing network, is incapable of having an honest conversation about left-wing violence because they can listen to the entire district attorney's press conference and still not conclude what the motive was.
Have something to say? Hello. Call the show. 1-877-97-ERIC. That's 1-877-973-7425.
1221 Cool Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Rolling construction continues into DeKalb County, 285 east and northbound the outer loop approaching I-20 over in DeKalb County. That construction is rolling in two left lanes. That's why you're seeing the brake lights back toward I-675. Also jammed up getting around the airport through Clayton County. That's due to a stalled tractor trailer, 285 westbound the inner loop at Riverdale Road, exit 60. Trying to get that out of a couple right lanes. Traffic brought to you by ZeroCancer.org. If it's caught early, prostate cancer has a 99% survival rate. Find a nearby screening location at zerocancer.org/PSA. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
Okay, friends, it's the 5K a day bonus blitz. Your noon keyword is FUND. F-U-N-D, FUND. Enter the keyword FUND into the WSB Radio app or at WSBRadio.com/cash. You have until 12:30 p.m. to enter the keyword. Win $1,000. The keyword is FUND, F-U-N-D. Don't forget, if you get a call after 12:30 from a number you don't recognize, answer it. Could be us telling you won $1,000. Keyword is FUND.
This is Scott Slade, updating my health story. I get a checkup every year, and last September, my primary care physician was troubled by a suspicious number on my lab work. Well, that led to a diagnosis early enough to give me options, and I'm more optimistic than ever about a good outcome. Now, when we're talking about our health, level with your providers if you think you have a problem. We all need expert eyes looking us over every so often. That's where virtual imaging can be invaluable. Virtual Imaging's LDCT body scan can give you time and options for early treatment, especially for cancer. They can detect tumors as early as precancerous virtually anywhere in your body, and aneurysms you may not even know are there. For a limited time, Virtual Imaging is extending their core body scan offer for only $995 per scan. That's a $2,495 value. Early detection saves lives, and now it's more affordable than ever. Virtual Imaging has gotten such great response, they've opened up more times in both offices. But appointments will fill up fast for this offer, so don't wait. Some minimum requirements may apply. Early detection is your best protection. To schedule your Virtual Imaging $995 core body scan, call 770-678-SCAN. That's 770-678-SCAN. Or make an appointment by visiting their website at virtualimagingatl.com. That's virtualimagingatl.com. Do it now while you still have options.
Welcome to Window Wisdom with North Georgia Replacement Windows. We are here with the owners and experts, Ted Kirk and Jonathan Cullum. So Ted, you guys have some incredibly exciting news to share with people looking for window and door replacement.
Yes, we do. We were blessed to move to a bigger, better location, and that makes window and door shopping so simple for our customers. The new location's already helping make our business more efficient, and everyone loves the Infinity from Marvin experience, where you could see for yourself the fiberglass difference side by side compared with other types of windows like vinyl composites.
What can someone expect when they visit your beautiful new Alpharetta showroom?
First of all, expect to meet some of the most educated window and door experts in the business. Our people really make a big difference. They are the very best in the industry, and we have so many window and door styles on display that you can see the difference in quality for yourself. Our showroom also includes some of the newest technological advances available in windows and doors.
Now, do you need an appointment for a showroom consultation, or can I just drop by?
You can just drop by. We're open Monday through Saturday, and we'd like to personally invite you to schedule a time to meet with someone at our showroom, or we'll bring samples to you for an in-home appointment. The showroom really makes it easy for you. Stop by and see the beautiful Infinity from Marvin fiberglass windows in person. They'll improve your home's energy efficiency, comfort, and curb appeal. And we promise a stress-free experience, including a quick, accurate proposal without the pressure or pricing games.
And right now at North Georgia Replacement Windows, it's time to huddle up for huge savings. You'll enjoy 17% off your project, plus up to 12 months no interest, no payment financing. Visit our beautiful showroom in Alpharetta to see all the possibilities. And check out all the details online at ngwindows.com. ngwindows.com.
Infinity from Marvin, replacement windows, yeah!
When your termite bond renewal comes in the mail, do you cringe wondering, how much more are they going to charge me now? Switch to Breda Pest Management and your termite rate is locked in for 10 years. Hey, it's Mark Aram here. If your termite service doesn't inspect inside, how do you know you're protected? With Breda, you get total peace of mind that your home is termite-free inside and out, and your termite rate is locked in for 10 full years.
Breda, no need to be afraid of bugs.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Want to be on the show? Come on, be on the show. Call Eric now at 877-973-7425.
Welcome back. It's Eric Erickson here. Let's hop to the phones. Clark, you're going to be up next. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Hey, Eric. I'm good. How are you?
Great. What's going on?
Hey, so just listening to your broadcast, I'm on my lunch break, and hearing what you have to say about the left's reaction to the pretty clearly politically motivated assassination of Charlie Kirk, I just find it very interesting how the left has put themselves in a situation where simultaneously they want to play dumb and be dishonest. We don't know what the motive is. He was a right-wing fringe guy, but simultaneously celebrate the death pretty openly as soon as it happened all over the country. And I think it just kind of speaks to how dishonest, everyone's being about the whole situation. And it frankly makes me sick.
Yeah. Yeah, look, I think that's well said. And, I got to say, a buddy of mine wrote a piece. I'm trying to pull it up on the website right now, and where he points out, this really isn't a time for theatrics by either side, by the beating of chests on the right or the denials of the left. People do need to be honest, and I agree with them. I've declined a number of invitations to go on CNN in the last number of days. I went on with Anderson Cooper once because I knew it would be a good conversation. But I generally declined all of the invitations because what they wanted to do is have me be a Republican to come on and say what Republicans are doing is bad. And I'm like, no, what you guys are doing is bad. Your refusals to hold the left accountable are bad. And I got real issues with the way it's being handled. News Nation beat CNN this weekend. In the 25, 54-year-old demographic, there's a reason for that, and it has a lot to do with the dishonesty at CNN these days, moving clearly, distinctly, editorially to the left. offering very little wiggle room between them and MSNBC when you can't discern the motive from the statement of the DA. Now, let me tell you about my bank, Old Glory Bank. They're on the right. They're conservatives, started by conservatives, Ben Carson, Larry Elder, John Rich, and others. They wanted a bank that would protect conservatives from the progressive debanking trends out there. In particular, I mean, even through their capitalization structure, was through Main Street. It wasn't through Wall Street, to minimize the opportunity for progressives to buy shares of the bank. They're one of the fastest growing banks in the country. OldGloryBank.com/Eric is their website where you can go get an account. I have a checking and a savings account with Old Glory Bank. Checking and savings. You can go to oldglorybank.com/Eric. You can do business accounts with them. You can do checking, savings, get mortgages, home equity lines of credit. You can get car loans. You can get CDs. They're a fully operating bank. They're an online bank. You can deposit cash, however, at 88,000 retail locations around the country, and it works. I've used it plenty of times. oldglorybank.com/Eric, member FDIC, equal housing lender. Terms and conditions apply. If you're interested in a new bank, check them out. oldglorybank.com/Eric, ERICK.
In Atlanta, there is always something happening.
Tanker truck crashed into the median.
The Triple Team Traffic Center has you covered.
No traffic getting through in either direction.
Helping you on your commute.
Avoid the area at all costs. Take Highway 155 or Highway 4223.
Brought to you by the Cool Ray Lifetime Parts and Labor Warranty.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk. Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 12:30. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. This news sponsored by Jim Ellis Automotive. Ex-CDC Director Dr. Susan Manera is testifying before a Senate committee over her firing.
I was fired for holding the line on scientific integrity, but that line does not disappear with me. It now runs through every parent deciding whether to vaccinate a child, every physician counseling a patient, and every American who demands accountability.
She was asked about what she fears if the forthcoming vaccine recommendations are not based on science. She says she believes that preventable diseases will return, which she says we're already seeing with measles. All right, your weather for today, partly cloudy and isolated rain showers possible, highs around 87. WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards will have Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast straight ahead. This is new here at 12:30. A driver spotted traveling 127 miles an hour on I-285 in Dunwoody has been arrested, and that person now facing DUI charges. The driver sped away from police but was eventually stopped on the Peachtree-Dunwoody exit ramp. Officers say the driver had a blood alcohol level that was more than double the legal limit. In a post on social media, Dunwoody police saying driving at such a high rate of speed while impaired is a disaster waiting to happen, and they're proud to have taken that person off the streets. Roswell police send out a warning about an alarming and concerning uptick in cryptic crimes targeting the elderly.
Our detectives are actively working several of these cases, with more coming in each week. And our most recent victim lost over $100,000.
That is Officer Tim Lupo with Roswell Police. He says the scam almost always starts with a caller pretending to be a trusted organization, like maybe your bank. They're going to tell you that your account's been compromised or that you owe a fine. And then they say the only way to settle the matter is to make a deposit into a Bitcoin ATM, and it's an urgent matter. Once the money is sent, it is gone. It's 12:32.
So you're staying in your home longer than you thought. Let Nelson Exteriors bring the beauty back with an exterior makeover. Hi, I'm Scott Nelson, owner of Nelson Exteriors. We can take care of your entire home improvement wish list. Windows, siding, painting, roofing, decks, doors, and gutters. We're a James Hardie Elite Preferred Siding contractor and carry multiple energy-efficient window brands to fit your budget and style. Choose Nelson Exteriors for an extraordinary renovation. Google Nelson Exteriors.
Save money by getting pre-approved for your next auto loan at Coosa Valley Credit Union. We offer the most competitive interest rates in the market, as low as 3.49 APR when you open an account with direct deposit. This is Andy Harris, President of Coosa Valley Credit Union, inviting you to stop in a branch near you. You'll experience kinder banking with real people, not automation. Plus, with 11 locations in Northwest Georgia, we're always local and nearby.
Contact 706-235-8551 for more details. Equal Opportunity Lender.
Men, trouble in the bedroom? Not anymore. Priority Men's Medical Center restores your love life in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE. Here's a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Have Viagra or Cialis let you down? Priority Men's Medical Center offers the most effective treatments that eliminate ED and PE, with men lasting longer than ever. 98% of patients see instant results on their first visit.
Priority Men's Medical Center's breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. Your consultation and first treatment are free. You'll see instant results in the office. Plus, qualified patients get their testosterone checked free. Call 404-885-8885. 404-885-8885. To restore your love life in just one visit, call now. 404-885-8885.
Hey, it's Scott Slade for FGA Roofing. If your home's exterior could use an updated look, or maybe one of your neighbor's designer roofs has caught your eye, and your current roof has started to show its age, then now's the perfect time to check out FGA Roofing for the latest in architectural shingles, timberland shingles, and more. Slate, tile, wood shake, cedar roofs, FGA has them all. FGA Roofing offers 0% financing for 12 months with your good credit. Get the roof you want now and pay over time. Just search FGA Roofing to get started with a free quote today.
Live team coverage of traffic and weather, Alex Williams.
Still watching the construction delays on the south side perimeter. It's 285 eastbound, the outer loop. You're slow leaving Boulder Crest Road and 675 due to the rolling construction in 2 left lanes approaching I-20. 285 westbound, the inner loop slow around the airport. This is due to a stalled big rig that's been in a couple of right lanes at Riverdale Road, exit 60. Travel advisory in Kennesaw, construction in the right lane, 75 north at Barrett Parkway. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Partly cloudy through this afternoon with an isolated rain shower possible, high 87.
More news at 1 o'clock, breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
Hello there. It is Eric Erickson here across the United States of America. I want to, well, first of all, I need to tell you Matt Gutman has released a statement. Matt Gutman of ABC News after his using touching to describe the text exchange. Yesterday, I tried to underscore the jarring contrast between this cold-blooded assassination of Charlie Kirk, a man who dedicated his life to public dialogue, and the personal, disturbing text read aloud by the Utah County attorney at the press conference. I deeply regret that my words did not make that clear, but let there be zero doubt here. I unequivocally condemn this horrific crime and the pain it caused Charlie Kirk's family, those who were forced to witness it at UVU, and the millions of people he inspired. Look, I'll take him at a statement. I think I try to take people at their statements. I try to do that. I try to not go postal on people for making those sorts of mistakes on the fly. I've been on live TV. I know live TV is hard. I mean, I speak for 3 hours a day on the radio. Sometimes I say things that afterwards, like, I probably shouldn't have said it that way. I get it. I get it. It was still an odd first reaction that these messages were so touching. Before I move on to anything else, I need to put this out there because I've seen a lot of people say that these text messages don't seem real. The words used, they seem like legalese. In fact, there are now assassination truthers out there who are claiming that there's no way Tyler Robinson and his partner, lover, used these messages, that these are fabricated. The police, the FBI, someone must have come up with them. I'm going to give you what I admit is my own speculation. I see exactly what people are saying in these text messages. These text messages do not sound like a normal conversation. They do not sound like an organic conversation. They just don't. My speculation, it is opinion, that's it, having read these transcripts. This sounds like Robinson trying to provide an excuse to put distance between his partner and the crime, in my mind. This entire exchange sounds very much like Robinson trying to leave a thread, a transcript and text messages behind so that his partner can say, I knew nothing, I had nothing to do with it, whether or not the partner did or did not. And I don't know. But that's the way I read the text messages. They sound very calculated, and that's what actually makes the whole thing even worse, is this wasn't an insane person. This was a coldly calculated play by someone who knew what he was doing, who planned it, who deliberated on it. It wasn't an impulsive thing. And you get that from the text messages. And what I also get from the text messages is he wanted to be able to protect his partner from the police and the fallout of the situation. It wasn't a protection from Charlie Kirk's situation. It was a protection from the investigation situation. And it sounds like in his instructions to delete the text messages and the like, the partner seemed to be pretty horrified and didn't find them as touching as Matt Gutman did. He actually collaborated and cooperated with the police. And I will be honest with you, and I have nothing to base this on, is entirely my speculative opinion. It just sounds like to me that I'm trying to use my words very deliberately here, that the partner collaborating with the police and being as helpful as the partner was part of putting distance between Robinson and his partner. Here's this text message thread. I'm going to tell you in the text message thread to delete the thread, but you need to save it and give it to the police so they know you weren't involved. Now, the question is, does the partner get charged? And if the police buy that it's legitimate cooperation, not going to be charged. If they believe it's all part of a ruse, that the partner was complicit in some way, had foreknowledge of it, and did nothing until after it was over, then they might. We'll see where it plays out. But just my reading of the messages, it reads to me very much like these messages weren't as organic as some people say, that there was a deliberation to a text message chain going that way to protect the partner, not again from Charlie Kirk or trans violence or whatever, but from the police questioning whether the partner was complicit in planning the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Now, I gotta move on because there's another issue that I want to talk about that is completely unrelated to this. You may have seen the video. It has started to go viral in Dearborn, Michigan. Dearborn, Michigan has fallen to the radicals. They are in Dearborn, Michigan, planning on naming a street after a Hezbollah leader. Hezbollah is the terrorist organization that was responsible for the murder of many Marines in the early 1980s in Lebanon. Hezbollah attempted to kill me when I was a kid, blow up my school in the Middle East because we were Americans. Hezbollah is a deeply anti-American organization, and in Dearborn, Michigan, the Muslim population has become dominant, and they have elected a Muslim mayor, and they have decided to name a street after a Hezbollah terrorist leader. And a non-Muslim resident of Dearborn, Michigan, went to the city council. I wish to play for you this exchange between the mayor and the resident.
Hezbollah, bombed the embassy in Beirut, and including many Americans. So I just feel it's quite inappropriate.
You are an Islamophobe. And although you live here, I want you to know as mayor, you are not welcome here. And the day you move out of the city will be the day that I launch a parade celebrating the fact that you moved out of the city. Because you are not somebody who believes in coexistence.
That's the mayor of Dearborn, Michigan, telling a resident who objected to a shirt. I'm sorry, your reaction over there. I'm blowing my board op's mind today with all this audio. This is the mayor of Dearborn, Michigan, telling this resident, let's play this again.
Hezbollah, bombed the embassy in Beirut, and including many Americans. So I just feel it's quite inappropriate.
You are an Islamophobe. And although you live here, I want you to know as mayor, you are not welcome here. And the day you move out of the city will be the day that I launch a parade celebrating the fact that you moved out of the city.
Abdullah Mahmoud, or Hamoud, is the mayor of Dearborn, Michigan, and he will launch a parade to celebrate the day this resident of Dearborn, Michigan leaves the city because he, a resident, is not welcome in the city because he objected to naming a street after an American murdering terrorist in Michigan. You know, there are a lot of people who believe that when a Muslim community exceeds 10% of population in a community, they begin to assert themselves in these sorts of ways. Some say it's 20%. It's not actually always the case. Hamtramck, Michigan, for example, became the first Muslim-majority city in the United States in 2015. It's actually the place that confounded progressives because the entire city council got taken over by Muslims, and their first thing was to ban the pride flag. And progressives were like, but they haven't asserted Sharia law. They haven't done any. They're American citizens who they may disagree with me on things, but it's not now there are social problems in that city, but it's not related to being predominantly Muslim. But in Dearborn, Michigan, here, this is the reaction of the mayor to a citizen of the city is, you're not welcome here because you're an Islamophobe. And his reason for saying the guy is an Islamophobe is because the guy objected to naming a street after a terrorist, like an actual foreign terrorist of Hezbollah. Just absolutely wild to me that this is happening in parts of the United States, in Michigan no less, where there is a large Muslim population. And again, there are areas of this country with large Muslim populations that have assimilated and integrated so much into the United States, it's not a problem. Where the problem comes from is that progressives over time insisted that assimilation is racism in and of itself, and that everyone should be able to live culturally distinct ways in society without any assimilation. And when you have situations like that, you have societal breakdown. Look what's happening in Europe, where you have ghettos filled with different ethnicities who have immigrated, who there's been no effort to integrate them or assimilate them into society, because within progressivism, it is racist to assimilate people into your society. I'm very glad we live in a largely assimilated society, because I love tacos. I absolutely love tacos. I love tacos and beer on Tuesdays. I think it's fantastic. Italian food, I thoroughly love Italian food. Chinese food, I grew up eating lots of Chinese food. I'm from Louisiana. We eat lots of Cajun food. They're all American foods. They're all part and parcel part of the country, and they come from an integration and assimilation of societies. There are certain foods that are more specifically ethnic than others, particularly around religious holidays and religious observances. My Jewish friends and their latkes, my gosh, do I love a good latke. My wife actually makes incredibly great latkes. Brisket. I don't understand anti-Semitism, because have you ever had brisket? Because God bless the Jews. And yet the left's like, there should be no assimilation. And in Dearborn, Michigan, we're seeing this problem where there is no assimilation. That my grandfather immigrated from Sweden. I think he was probably an illegal alien, actually, when he sneaked over to the United States. He assimilated, he learned English, became an American, went back to Sweden when he was old to die, and called my Uncle Leif, yes, my Uncle Leif Erikson, and said, you got to come get me. He forgot he liked the United States and hated the cold in Sweden, and he was going to die an American. And he raised his kids to be American. You never know my father's Swedish. He's born and raised in Coral Gables, Florida. I have a friend of mine. His parents are from Mumbai, Bombay. As I was a kid, they changed the name to Mumbai. He's one of the biggest rednecks that I know. Dip spitting, country music listening rednecks from South Georgia, and his last name happens to be Patel. and he eats hamburgers and tacos, and he eats curry and naan bread, and he's just a good old boy from the South who happens to be descended from people from India. He was born and raised in the United States, and he is one of the biggest rednecks. He even drives a big Chevy Silverado with jacked up with big tires. And loves the United States, loves Donald Trump, flies his American flag proudly. These are the sorts of people we want. I don't care where you're from in the world. I care, do you want to be an American? And in Dearborn, Michigan, when an American citizen is not welcome in the city because he objects to naming a street after a Hezbollah terrorist, you have real problems in Dearborn, Michigan, which is one of the hotbeds of anti-assimilation sentiment from progressives in the United States. And look, it's where it's getting us. You've got to assimilate into the United States and love the United States. And have you noticed, by the way, it's becoming a thing too, like, if you see someone flying an American flag, the odds are they're probably a conservative now. You don't very often see progressives flying American flags. It's very weird. We don't actually have a flag flying at our house because of the trees. We had a flag, but it kept getting stuck in the trees. The way our house is, don't really have a good place to put a flag. Otherwise, I would have one. But now I'm like, maybe I need to plant a flagpole in my yard and defy the homeowner association just so people realize I'm not a wackadoo progressive, because it's becoming distinctively conservative to fly an American flag, which is crazy to think about, and yet it's happening.
Honest.
Putting your trust in me to tell you what's going on.
Transparent.
I need you to know this from the bottom of my heart.
Giving you the information without the noise.
My job isn't to tell you what you want to hear, it's to tell you the truth.
It's the Erick Erickson Show.
1250 Cool-Rate Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Watching the brake light battle through Marietta into Kennesaw due to that right lane construction. 75 northbound before Chastain Road exit 271. Might want to think about Highway 41 Cobb Parkway to get around that. South side perimeter, the delays continue. 285 eastbound approaching I-20 exit 46. Rolling road work in 2 left lanes there. Traffic brought to you by Whole Foods Market. Now at Whole Foods Market, save 20% on bone-in beef short ribs with Prime through September 23rd. As always, there are no antibiotics ever while supplies last. Shop in store or online. Terms apply. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
It pays to have the WSB radio app. Download it today and get ready for the Blitz.
No way! The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz. 5 chances every weekday to win $1,000.
I just won $1,000 from WSB.
The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz.
Your next chance to win is at 2 p.m.
I am so excited.
From 95.5 WSB.
Download the WSB radio app now.
Let's see, it's still hot out, but football is back. That makes this September. Dave Baker here. Cool-Ray says you can stay comfortable and watch football. They're offering up to $2,250 back in rebates and free installation with the purchase of a complete Carrier system. And you know proper insulation is important. It's like a sidekick for your HVAC, keeping cool air in and hot air out. Call or go online at coolray.com to book your appointment today. Cool-Ray and Carrier. Turn to the experts.
I'm here with Chris Hoffman, the founder of Hoffman Financial Group and host of Money Unleashed. Chris, every week on the show, we offer folks something we call the Portfolio X-Ray. I was hoping you could walk us through that process and tell us why the information it uncovers is so powerful.
Yeah, so the reason we love doing the Portfolio X-Ray for you is we do that behind the scenes. Everybody's extremely busy. Nobody wants to waste time in traffic. If you call in, we will ask you for some information via the phone. Once you've given us that information, we go to work and we put all the hours in developing the report. And I commit this to you. The Portfolio X-Ray is eye-opening. At least 90+% of the time, we can find 2 or 3 golden nuggets in there that you were not aware of that we can either change in your current portfolio mix for you. It's called a 401k optimizer. Or if we manage the assets for you, we certainly can recommend how to diversify away from some of the troubling points that are exposed during the Portfolio X-Ray. Once we've got that, then we'll have you in for your initial consultation. We will present the Portfolio X-Ray to you and walk you through the high points of it. And that's a document that you get to take with you. It's like getting a financial physical. Mm-hmm. So how many of you avoided going to the doctor for the annual physical last year? You do the same thing with your financial life. You ignore it, You keep pumping money into your 401k. You hope that it's going well, and I can tell you that hope is not a good investment or financial planning strategy. You need to know. So if you want to know, call us.
The Portfolio X-Ray is complimentary. Give Hoffman Financial Group a call to schedule yours today. 404-737-3858, 404-737-3858, or online at unleashyourmoney.com. Investment advisory services offered through Brookstone Wealth Advisors, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Hoffman Financial Group Incorporated, Georgia Insurance License number 163546.
Multiple contractors and estimates for your home projects? What a hassle. Instead, trust the Plus. Painting Plus.
Hi, I'm Charlie, owner of Painting Plus and the Plus family of businesses. We're reliable, fully licensed, and insured. No muss, no fuss. Trust the Plus and leave everything on your list to us.
If your home's exterior has it, the Plus can improve it. Painting Plus. Siding, gutters, windows, decks, porches, roofing, and more. Trust the Plus. PaintingPlus.com.
WSB Atlanta, WSBB FM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
All the news, weather, and traffic you need. 95.5 WSB.
Have y'all heard about Spirit Airlines trying to turn our nation into Spirit Halloween? The White House, at least. Pilots were told to get off their iPad and steer away from Donald Trump's Air Force One. They were on a collision course over New York as the President of the United States was headed to Great Britain. This is from the Daily Mail. Air Force One was involved in mid-air drama when a passenger jet as Air Force One ferried Trump to Britain. An air traffic controller was forced to intervene when he noticed the path of a Spirit Airlines jet converging with the president's plane over Long Island. Spirit Flight 1300 traveling from Fort Lauderdale to Boston. The quick-thinking ATC noticed their altitudes and paths aligned over New York. The controller repeated instructions to the pilots of the Spirit Airbus to adjust their course, raising his voice when they did not respond. The audio saw the controller. Don't you love this? The audio saw the controller as opposed to the audio. The controller was overheard telling Spirit Flight to descend and turn 20 degrees. The voice belonging to the controller issued a pay attention. Turn 20 degrees right now. Then the voice raises again and says, turn immediately. Traffic's off your left wing by 8 miles. I'm sure you can see who it is. Keep an eye out for him. He's white and blue. And then the instructor says, I gotta talk to you twice every time. Pay attention. Get off your iPad. Turn 20 degrees now. Spirit's response is, safety is always our top priority. No, I don't believe it is. No, poor old Spirit Airlines. Y'all, so I was on a beloved Delta flight a few weeks ago, and we pulled up in Atlanta, and they parked us, I think it was Concourse D, and on both sides of, no, it was only to the right side of us were Spirit Airlines. And I looked out the little window, and the doors have the tiny windows, and I said, uh-oh, you guys are parked next to Spirit, be careful. And the flight attendant looks at me, and she says, yeah, we got the captain out there putting the tire locks on all the wheels just in case. Holy moly. Everybody gets the joke. My gosh. Poor old Spirit Airlines. It's like the John Chris joke. They asked if a doctor was on board, and he's like, no, there are no doctors on Spirit. They're on Delta. Folks, I got to tell you about Americans for Prosperity. They would love for you to take a step for freedom. If all of us take one step for freedom, we'll be many steps to freedom ahead, back to where our founder's vision for the country was. Go to afpvolunteer.com to learn more and sign up. They'd really like to get 250,000 Americans to take just one step in your community for freedom. Just one step. If 250,000 of us take one step for freedom, we've taken 250,000 steps for freedom in time for our 250th birthday as a nation, committing ourselves to the founder's vision of this country: limited government, local responsibility, collaboration at the local level, federalism, things like that. If you want to find out how you can participate, go to afpvolunteer.com. Americans for Prosperity is the largest and leading grassroots group in the country. They're committed to common sense conservative reforms, limited government, fiscal reform. They help small businesses and individuals and families. AFPvolunteer.com is the website you want to go to sign up with Americans for Prosperity. They're a fantastic group, and they'd love for you to take a step for freedom in your community. AFPvolunteer.com.
I'm Chris Chandler. When you join us Thursday starting at 5 for Atlanta's Morning News, what Clark Howard says beware of before you do your Christmas shopping. And Scott Slade's Georgia This Week, a mystery to mark POW MIA Recognition Day on WSB.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. We're a different kind of wireless company dedicated to serving people 50 and up, like me. Because let's face it, our needs are different. Big wireless unlimited plans are designed for 20-somethings, not us. At Consumer Cellular, we're focused on one thing, bringing you affordable, reliable rate plans that suit your needs, not ours. How do we do that? We start by using the same towers as the big guys, the exact same towers. We then create rate plans designed for your usage. The fact is, we can offer you an unlimited plan with the same network quality for less because we understand how you use wireless services. Our plans start at just $20 a month. And forget trying to chat with robots. You'll get 100% US-based award-winning customer service when you need help. Come find out how wireless should be and join the millions who've made the switch.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/fax. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
News,
weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Hi there, good afternoon. It is 1 o'clock. I'm Sabrina Cupid. Next hour, we're going to learn if interest rates are coming down. The Federal Reserve expected to cut rates by 0.25%. Elizabeth Schultz says this will make borrowing cheaper.
A rate cut can also lower costs for car loans and credit cards. Right now, the average credit card interest rate is still near a record 20%. So at that level, if you carry a $5,000 balance on your card and you're only making minimum payments, you will be in debt for 16 years and pay $6,900 in interest.
And she says the Fed is likely to cut the rate because the job market has slowed. That announcement expected at 2 o'clock. All right, your weather for today, partly cloudy. An isolated rain shower is possible. Highs around 87, says WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. Former CDC Director Dr. Susan Menares is still testifying before a Senate committee right now about her firing.
On the morning of August 25th, Secretary Kennedy demanded two things of me that were inconsistent with my oath of office and the ethics required of a public official.
And she says that Kennedy demanded that she rubber stamp recommendations from the Vaccine Advisory Panel and fire top CDC officials without cause. Jay O'Brien in Washington this afternoon, he says Kennedy is now coming under fire.
Here on Capitol Hill, Kennedy remains under pressure from several Republican senators, all of whom voted to confirm him just months ago, who now question if he's the right person to lead public health in this country.
And all of this ahead of a two-day meeting of the Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices. It's set to get underway here in Atlanta tomorrow. Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger, the latest Republican to enter the GOP primary for governor, and Kennesaw State political science professor Dr. Kerwin Swint says he's jumping into a challenging time.
The race on the Republican side so far has sort of been dominated by Burt Jones. He's got the Donald Trump endorsement. He's the favored candidate of MAGA.
Now, Swint expects Raffensperger will work to align himself publicly with President Trump during his campaign. He believes that his candidacy could make a runoff more likely. All right, if your kids are playing sports this fall, here's a story you might want to listen to. A new study finds head injuries from contact sports can cause brain cell loss long before the onset of CTE. Jonathan Cherry and his team at Boston University studied the donated brains of dozens of men under the age of 50, and what they found in those brains, they had those who had played contact sports, it shocked them. Inflammation's what they found, loss of brain cells, blood vessel damage, even in men who never developed CTE. Cherry says repetitive head impacts cause brain injuries much earlier than researchers first thought.
Using a lot of imaging techniques, there's ways where we can look at the brain and see these changes. They're not prime time yet, but they're definitely getting really close where we can identify people who might have these things with, imaging and taking blood tests essentially as well.
He says we have to rethink our approach to youth sports. It's 102.
Y'all, it's Eric. Windows 10 is sunsetting. End of support on October 14th of this year. It's also my anniversary. No end of support for my marriage, just end of support for your computer if you're on Windows 10. You got to update. Now, what does that mean? Into support. It means Microsoft is going to stop issuing security patches for your computer if you're on Windows 10. So you actually do need to update for your own good and safety, and Vision Computers can help you transfer to Windows 11. How do you do it? You call them at 404-COMPUTE and say, Eric sent you, I need some help. They can get you upgraded to Windows 11. It is for your own good and safety and that of your company that you move to Windows 11 because of the security updates, if nothing else. So call Vision Computer at 404-COMPUTE or go to visioncomputers.com. Tell them Eric sent you. You might be able to save some money. You got to get it done before October 14th because you're not going to get security patches from Microsoft after that for Windows 10. Let Vision Computer take care of you. 404-COMPUTE or visioncomputers.com.
Whether it's a slip that ends in a slip disc, a trick knee that's holding you back, or shoulder pain hurting your game, you can count on Northside Hospital Orthopedics. With leading care in Georgia at convenient locations all across the state, we're here to get you back on your feet, no matter what comes your way. Because Georgia moves us, and we keep Georgia moving. Find a provider near you at northside.com/ortho. That's northside.com/ORTHO.
Hey, this is Robbie with Ben Hill Renovations, the preferred deck experts heard on the Home Fix-It Show. We're well known for our superior craftsmanship for decks and outdoor living spaces. And at Ben Hill Renovations, we provide that same attention to detail when it comes to roofing, siding, windows, and doors. So get your project started today and call to schedule a free estimate. Or you can stop by our showroom in Douglasville, online at bhrenovations.com. Ben Hill Renovations, creating raving fans since 1964.
JIC, Flat Face Seal, BSP, and DEN. If you know what these are, then listen up.
I'm Victoria Holloway. We can replicate hose assembly on site with Mobile Hydraulics of Georgia.
Call 770-HYD-HOSE or try our website, HYDHOSE.com.
You got your termite billed and they raised your rate again. Switch to Breda Pest Management and your rate's locked in for 10 years. BredaPest.com.
Breda, no need to be afraid of bugs.
All right, Alex Williams has a look at your roads.
Still watching a jam on the south side perimeter, Sabrina. Crash, only a right lane getting by as they clean this up. 285 eastbound, the outer loop, Jonesboro Road, exit 55. Once you get past that, brake lights find you again passing Flat Shoals Road, exit 48. Due to the rolling construction into left lanes. Travel advisory into Kennesaw, right lane construction, 75 and northbound, passing Barrett Parkway, exit 269. Very slow back to Delk Road. Use Highway 41, Cobb Parkway. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
This is WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. A mix of sun and clouds today with an isolated rain shower or thunderstorm possible, high 87, lows tonight in the mid-60s. Tomorrow, partly cloudy with an isolated rain shower, high 88. Friday, mostly sunny, high near 90.
81 degrees in Alpharetta. It's 84 in Riverdale. Winder has 80 degrees. More news at 1:30. Breaking news when it happens. 95.5 WSB.
My fellow Americans, welcome. It is Eric Erickson here across the United States. The phone number 877-973-7425. We are headed towards a government shutdown. The Democrats deciding they want it. Their voters want congressional leaders to shut things down. They're going to Leroy Jenkins it, go rushing into a shutdown without a cohesive plan. This is from Semaphore, a news site I continue to forget exists. Democrats have new polling to chew over as they rail against Republican government funding bills. It's unlikely to make them more eager to cave. A new survey from the progressive firm Data for Progress and research firm Grow Progress shows 7 in 10 Democrats support their party withholding votes unless Republicans make changes, even if it risks a shutdown, while a similar share backs their party taking a firmer stand than they did in March. What's more, Democrats are arguing voters will blame Republicans who control government for a shutdown, and the poll shows their voters share that view, 82-14. Large majorities of Democrats also think the party should fight Donald Trump harder, even if they don't win. House Republicans plan to vote this week on a short-term spending bill that would extend funding levels through November 21st, with the Senate following suit. House Majority Leader Steve Scalise said leaders will put it on the floor as soon as they feel they have the votes, but they'll need the support of at least some Senate Democrats for it to become law. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries and Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer on Tuesday expressed vehement opposition to the proposal because it does not include any of the health care provisions they'd sought. Chuck thinks you guys and gals will give him cover and focus less on the shutdown and the harm it does to the country and more on the excuse they use to shut it down, Kennedy told reporters. That'd be Senator Kennedy of Louisiana. House Speaker Mike Johnson said there's zero chance GOP lawmakers agree to reverse any of their changes to the Medicaid program. He added that extending Affordable Care Act subsidies, which are set to lapse at the end of the year and hike premiums, is a December policy issue, not a September funding issue. Senate and House Republicans are in the process of reviewing proposals that could keep the subsidies from lapsing while addressing Republican concerns over costs. Now, Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, also went on CNBC to talk about what is a looming shutdown of the federal government. This is the Speaker of the House.
Term, very clean, continuing. We're moving forward productively, but the concern is that we've run out of clock to finish that process. So we need a short-term, very clean, continuing resolution to keep the government open so our appropriators can continue to do their work. Chuck Schumer and Jeffries and the others are opposing that. They're trying to insert partisan political preferences in the middle of a clean funding extension, and it doesn't make any sense, and they're going to lose that battle.
So here's what's going on. The Democrats have become scared of their base. The Democratic base is constantly more and more now radicalized, and they want real fights against the Republicans. They want real fights. And the Democrats have decided, the Democratic base has decided, progressive activists have decided, the GOP is always willing to shut down the government. Why don't we do it? Now, in the past, the talking point had been the media would blame Republicans if they shut down the government. But you and I both know the media will blame Republicans if the Democrats shut down the government. And let's just be honest about it. It's true. The Democrats, it's always heads we win, tails you lose when it comes to the media and the Democrats. You see this with the assassination of Charlie Kirk. It's the Republicans' problem. It's the Republicans' fault. They both sides it and focus on Republicans. They'll do that with the shutdown. But here's something that the Democratic base, because they're emotional, they're not thinking rationally. They're being emotional here. Donald Trump has a bigger bully pulpit than they do, and the public still likes Donald Trump more than the Democrats, even as the Democrats hate Donald Trump, and even as the polling shows Donald Trump doesn't have majority support in the country, more members of the public still support Donald Trump than support the Democrats. And if Donald Trump comes out and says the Democrats shut down the government, he's going to be amplified. And more people will believe him than believe the Democrats. And it may excite the Democratic base. But you know what a shutdown is called, don't you? There's a particular term you need to know about a shutdown. A shutdown is the Russell T. Vote Empowerment Act. The Russell T. Vote Empowerment Act. Russell T. Vote, a dear friend of mine, is the director of the Office of Management and Budget. When the government shuts down, the director of the Office of Management and Budget directs the shutdown for the President of the United States. And you know, the one thing that Russell T. Vote hates more than Democrats, well, there are a couple of football teams in there, but he really hates big government. And Russ Vote gets to shut the government down if the Democrats refuse to go along with the spending bill. And he will do it in a way that minimizes pain to the voters and maximizes pain to the Democrats' core constituencies. And it'll be the Democrats out there for the very first time in modern history. It'll be the Democrats out there saying, no, senior citizens, you can't get your Social Security checks until the Republicans do what we want. It'll be the Democrats out there saying, no, you can't get into the Smithsonian museums on your school trips until the Republicans give us what we want. It'll be the Democrats telling members of the military and their families, I'm sorry you can't get paid until the Republicans do what we want. It'll be the Democrats doing that, and the media will give them cover. We are about to see the media try to work on their talking points to blame Republicans for shutdown caused by the Democrats, because they will not blame the Democrats for it. The spin, I think the spin will be from the media is that, y'all, the Democrats are finally fighting. They figured out how to fight. I don't know that it'll work, though. Now, there's a side note here. This is a very important side note that you got to understand. One of my concerns is you only need a couple of House Republicans to sabotage a clean spending bill. It could be Thomas Massey. It could be Marjorie Taylor Greene. It could be a member of the House Freedom Caucus. You just need one or two Republicans, really I think you need three total, to say we're not going along with it. And it'll be House Republicans who have killed the bill. And so we got to have every Republican be a team player right now. That includes Thomas Massey, who doesn't like to vote for these things. We can't afford to give the Democrats a reason to point to the GOP and say they're the ones who can't pass it. It's not on us. We got to have a unified Republican Party on this. And that's not easy right now because the Republicans of the House have a number of grandstanders who are totally fine holding everybody hostage to their demands. It's true. You got to acknowledge it. Sometimes there are members of the House Freedom Caucus who want to extract concessions, although the House Freedom Caucus right now, they seem to be in line with the leadership here that let's just do a clean resolution. We'll put everything off until the end of the year. Let's let the Democrats be the one to shut it down. But you got to have everybody on board here. Massey, Green, the rest of them, you got to have them on board. And if you can get the House Republicans to be unified on this, they get it to the Senate. And when it gets to the Senate, it's the Democrats and their filibuster that become the problem. It's the Democrats and their filibuster that obstruct the will of the people and shut down the government of the United States. I got to tell you, I really do think that the Democrats are so convinced they're going to get sympathetic media coverage that they're not thinking about how Russ Vought orchestrates the shutdown in ways that hurt the Democrats more than anyone else. I don't think they're thinking about that. I think the Democratic base right now is so enraged they can't see straight. You know, there are times people get very, very emotional and they can no longer, they just can't think. They can't think rationally about it. They're so emotional. It's part of what you learn from being a lawyer, I think. I've always kind of had this temperament. But even when I'm in a situation that's bad, I try to step back and ask myself, if I were the lawyer, what would my advice be? Can we think dispassionately about this issue just enough so that if I were the lawyer, here is what I think my legal advice to you would be. And even when I find myself really worked up and emotional about something, I've got a lot of angst about something, I find I'm able to step out of it just a little bit and say, okay, Erickson, let's analyze your problem. Now, let's think about it rationally, not emotionally. There are a couple of cases where it's very hard, but generally just being able to do that. It's a skill you learn in law school, to be dispassionate about things even when you're passionate about them, to try to see the other argument, to try to see the other side, to try to understand where people are coming from so that you can arrive at a solution. When I was a lawyer, I didn't like to deal with the lawyers who their idea was to say no to everything. I always, as a lawyer, when I had a client, I particularly advised companies. I did some schools, some TV and newspapers, and it was always, how can we get to yes? If you, the client, want to get to yes, how can I, the lawyer, protect your interests but get you to yes, as opposed to nope, 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 nope. I think that's being a good lawyer. Your client wants something, you see the pitfalls, you want to protect them, but you also want to get them there. I don't know that the Democrats are looking at it this way. I don't know that they can. I think they're too unhinged, too irrational, too emotional to be able to get to the point where they say, let's avoid a government shutdown. Their base wants a government shutdown. Remember, I read you the other day that report from Axios. It was from back in July, where members of the Democratic Party were telling Axios, congressional leaders, elected Democrats, that the base literally wants the shedding of blood. Like, not metaphorically, the Democratic base literally wants people to bleed in the fight against Donald Trump, and they were scared of the base. The base wanted violence. One of the members of the Democratic Party said, when Donald Trump sets the house on fire, you got to go find some water or an extinguisher. And one of the members of the base said, how about adding more fire to it? That was a member of the Democratic Party attending a rally tells a Democratic member of Congress, burn it all down. They want it all burned down at this moment. So they can't think rationally. They've got to think emotionally. They're going to do their best to think emotionally. They're going to do their best to figure out how to burn it all down. Okay. Burn it all down. And let Russ Vought rebuild it. Because that's where you're headed, Democrats. Russ Vought, who you don't like, is going to be empowered by your shutdown. And I'm okay with that. And here's the thing, honestly, I personally, if I have a dog in the fight, I hope the Democrats do shut it down. It'll be the first time in modern history the Democrats are the ones who actually orchestrated the shutdown, and I think they should. And I think Republicans should say, we're going to let you leave it shut down. We're just going to leave you alone. Y'all wanted it shut down? I mean, the government can't meet. The government can't function. The bureaucracy is shut down. The deep state doesn't get paid. And I'm okay with that. In fact, I have long been an advocate of government shutdowns. I think government shutdowns are a good thing. The less government, the better. And if you can't minimize the government, shut it down so it can't function. And people will locally realize I gotta take care of myself and my family, and the local government and the state government have to do things because the federal government's non-functioning. I think it's a great thing, Democrats. And then let Russ Vought be the one to put the pieces together. Why am I upset with you shutting it out? You guys go Leroy Jenkins this thing, and I want to watch, and I will cheer you on because you have no idea what you're in for.
Those who love him, listen to find out what he's going to say next. Those who disagree with him, also listen to see what he's going to say next. It's the Erick Erickson Show.
121 Cool Day Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Crash still working to clear Southside Perimeter, 285 eastbound, the outer loop before Jonesboro Road, exit 55. Tow trucks got the cars loaded up, so hopefully those two left lanes will reopen soon. Also watching a travel advisory from Marietta into Kennesaw. It's right lane construction, 75 northbound, past Chastain or past Barrett Parkway, exit 269. Traffic brought to you by Peach Pass. Life doesn't slow down, and neither can you. With Peach Pass, save time, cruise by traffic, and use your Peach Pass in 20 states. Visit peachpass.com and keep moving. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
On air,
online,
on the app,
where you get your news
is where you'll win.
Download the WSB radio app now and maybe win $1,000.
All right, thank you.
The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz.
5 words, 5 times a day, every weekday.
Oh my word!
Just enter the word at WSBradio.com or on the WSB radio app. The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz.
Your next chance to win is at 2 p.m.
Scott Slade here to talk to you about your health, and I think it's real important to talk about what is most likely to kill you. Heart disease is the #1 killer of Americans, and the older we get, the more prevalent it is. But you can reduce your risk. Eat right, don't smoke, exercise, and be informed about what's going on in your own body. Like lots of potentially serious health problems, if you catch heart disease early, you vastly increase your chances of living a longer life. And that's where virtual imaging comes in. Virtual imaging scans take less than 10 minutes and screen with 98% accuracy for heart disease. Other scans, including brain and full body, are available too. Virtual imaging is locally owned and operated in Atlanta for over 15 years, so they can make you this terrific offer. A complimentary heart scan for you and your spouse with a few minimum requirements. So don't put this off. I've done it. Call Virtual Imaging today for your free heart scan. 770-678-SCAN. That's 770-678-7226. Or visit their website at virtualimagingatl.com.
You've thought about assisted living for your parents, but maybe the right answer is renovating your home and having mom or dad move in. I'm Richard, Chief Architect at Sketch House, where we create custom architectural drawings for homeowners looking to remodel. Why get drawings first? You'll know what's possible. You'll be able to get pricing and compare builders apples to apples, and builders love drawings. You'll get bumped to the top of their list with drawings in hand. Let Sketch House help you make a decision about your aging parents at a fixed price. Visit sketchhouse.com. That's sketch, HAUS.com.
It's been a year since the last presidential election, and the economy has been on a roller coaster ever since. If you're in the home stretch, looking towards retirement, you may be feeling more anxious than ever about what the next few years could mean for your money. It's Eric Erickson here. If you're over 50 and have $500,000 or more saved for retirement, join me and fellow WSB radio show host, frequent guest on Fox Business with Stuart Varney and Charles Payne, David Nicholas of Nicholas Wealth Management, for a special live event Tuesday, October 7th at 6 p.m. at the Marietta Country Club. We'll break down what the post-election economy means for your retirement and the opportunities and risks that could impact you over the next year. Seating is very limited, so bring a spouse or a friend, enjoy food and drinks, and receive information that may help preserve your future. This is a registration-only event. Call 404-890-5606 or visit nicholaswealth.com to reserve your spot. Again, it's me, Eric Erickson, with David Nicholas, Tuesday, October 7th at 6 p.m. at Marietta Country Club. Don't miss it. Call 404-890-5606 or go to nicholaswealth.com. That's 404-890-5606 or nicholaswealth.com.
Nicholas Wealth Management is an independent financial services firm and uses a variety of different investment strategies. This is prepared for informational purposes only. It does not address specific investment objectives or the financial situation and particular needs of any person who listens to this show. Eric Erickson is a current client and is paid for this ad.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. We're a different kind of wireless company dedicated to serving people 50 and up, like me. Because let's face it, our needs are different. Big wireless unlimited plans are designed for 20-somethings, not us. At Consumer Cellular, we're focused on one thing, bringing you affordable, reliable rate plans that suit your needs, not ours. How do we do that? We start by using the same towers as the big guys, the exact same towers. We then create rate plans designed for your usage. The fact is, we can offer you an unlimited plan with the same network quality for less because we understand how you use wireless services. Our plans start at just $20 a month. And forget trying to chat with robots. You'll get 100% US-based award-winning customer service when you need help. Come find out how wireless should be and join the millions who've made the switch.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Your non-stop news source, 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk. Taking the complicated and making it simple. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
Greetings, conversationalists. I am Eric Erickson here, and the phone number is 877-973-7425. If you want to be on the program, Amir, you're going to be up next. Welcome to the program, sir. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Great.
Hey, this shutdown game, we all know how this is going to come. Eventually, they're going to pass something, and it's going to go on. But my thing is this. How about if they shut it down? Like you're saying, you know, people are not going to get paid and all this. We all understand that. But eventually when they come back, they're all going to get paid, back pay and all this. Why is the system created that way that when they decide not to vote for something, that means they didn't do their job to do something, to come to an agreement? In a private company, when you don't do your job, you have consequences to suffer. So if you guys don't want to agree on something, then nobody gets paid. And when you come back, that's when the clock starts again. You don't get back pay. Nobody. So that they need to feel the heat. Otherwise, I mean, what's the point of them having 1 week not to receive a paycheck or 1 month? These people are usually having millions anyway. Right. They don't care. They don't care about us little people. And now Second question that I have that I had another day that I didn't get my turn. I don't know if I can still do it.
Go ahead. You got about 30 seconds.
Okay. Is about how is this possible that we have senators that are, let's say they're different religions. When they get sworn in as a senator, do they put their hand on the Bible or they put their hand on whatever they choose?
They put their hand on whatever they choose. In fact, some recently, not in the Senate but in the House, have used the Quran because there actually is a clause in the Constitution that there can be no religious test in government. No one can be forced to adhere to a particular religion before going into Congress. And so, yeah, you can't do that. Now, on the other, I actually think congressional members shouldn't get back pay, but the military, yeah, give them back pay if there's a shutdown. It's not their fault, the government shutdown. It's just Congress. Eden Pure would like to send you 3 Eden Pure Thunderstorms for less than $200, which you can get at EdenPureDeals.com. Use discount code ERIC3, ERICK3, on the front page of that website. The Eden Pure Thunderstorm is a small air purifier. It gets rid of pollen and dust and pet dander. It eliminates 99.9% of bacteria and viruses, and it wipes out all odors. In fact, it generates ozone, which floats out into the air. It touches the odor particles, which are considered ionized particles in the air, and it wipes them out. Pet odors, dirty diaper odors, litter box odors. I've used it for smoke odors in hotel rooms and rental cars, and it just works. I've used it on my back porch when the window was cracked open a few weeks ago. In fact, I used one the other day because I made a bad mess in the house and it stunk, and it had to be cleaned up. And it just works. EdenPureDeals.com. You get 3 of them, save $200. EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code is ERIC3, ERICK3.
He's the guy at the desk next to you.
We only want to be around people who think exactly like us.
He's your co-pilot for the ride home.
God forbid you actually converse about the world.
Eric Von Haessler.
Smash and conquer, my friend.
Eric Von Haessler.
Today at 3.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk. Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 1:30. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. This news sponsored by Ben Hill Renovation. The Federal Reserve expected to cut interest rates for the first time this year. Jill Schlesinger says that's despite an uptick in inflation.
The labor market is deteriorating, and there's no doubt about that. But at the same time, we see prices are starting to edge higher because of those tariffs. I think the Fed is really going to focus on the labor market. We're expecting a 0.25 percentage point drop.
And that announcement expected in about 30 minutes from now. Your weather for today, partly cloudy, an isolated rain shower is not out of the question. Highs around 87. Says WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. The former head of the CDC testified before the Senate about why she was fired by Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Kennedy said that he let Dr. Susan Menares go last month because he couldn't trust her.
I had refused to commit to approving vaccine recommendations without evidence, fire career officials without cause, or resign. And I had shared my concerns with this committee. I told the secretary that if he believed he could not trust me, he could fire me.
Now, that was Menares pushing back. She says that she did not lie about being fired over refusing to pre-approve vaccine recommendations. She said that she told the Kennedy that she would change the childhood vaccine schedule if science supported it. But Kennedy told her there wasn't enough evidence and still expected her to change the schedule. She refused. A new study finds those weight loss drugs like Ozempic and Wegovy may not work as well for people who are emotional eaters. Scientists in Japan monitored more than 90 diabetic patients and found that people who overate because of sight or smell of food responded well to those drugs. But emotional eaters, not so much. One of the study's authors says that they may require additional behavioral or psychological support. This research suggests doctors consider the reasons behind weight issues before they prescribe weight loss drugs. It is 1:32.
You can't avoid roaches. I step on them. They crunch and squish, and they're everywhere, and they're a part of life here in Georgia. However, you can protect your home and family from roaches with Breda Pest Management. Dave Baker here for the experts I trust to protect my home and family from bugs and critters, including those relentless roaches. You really don't want to see roaches anywhere, but it's the roaches inside your home that you want gone. A lot of pest companies have stopped treating the inside of your homes to save money, but Breda Breda's got your back. They do it right, protecting the outside and inside of your home. Only Breda offers the Triple P process, precision placement of product. Breda will never spray your baseboards. They precisely treat the cracks and crevices where the roaches get in. Got roaches? Better call Breda. Make your home a crunch and squish-free zone. Breda Pest Management. They handle bugs and critters like roaches.
Breda, no need to be afraid of bugs.
At Coosa Valley Credit Union, we don't sacrifice customer service for technology. That's why we offer all the modern banking tools you expect with the friendly, caring service you deserve. This is Andy Harris, and at Coosa Valley Credit Union, you really can have both. We're local, we're kind, and we're here for you.
Hey homeowners, it's Eric Erickson here. Do your windows and doors stick? Are you noticing cracks in the drywall or the brickwork? You might have a big problem. Serious issues need the serious experts at Engineered Solutions of Georgia. Their skills are unmatched, as are their foundation solutions. When these guys repair a problem, it's the last time you'll have to worry about it. Done once, done right. Start today with a free inspection. Go to ESOGrepair.com. That's ESOGrepair.com.
Dial 678 ESOG now.
At Southern Link, we know wireless connectivity keeps business moving. Whether you're overseeing assets in real time or monitoring crew activities, our Critical Link LTE network can keep your business applications accessible as you travel. Call 1-800-818-LINC or visit southernlink.com to learn more about our mobile data solutions, LTE voice and data services, mission critical push-to-talk, and interworking solutions. Southern Link, pushing the limits of what's possible.
Selling and buying a home doesn't have to be a juggling act. With Orchard, you get cash up front to buy your next place, then more cash when your old home sells. Start with a free home valuation at Orchard.com. That's Orchard.com.
Live team coverage of traffic and weather, Alex Williams.
Travel advisory between Marietta and Kennesaw, right lane construction, 75 north at Barrett Parkway. Use Highway 41 or the express lanes, and crash cleanup about done on the south side perimeter from the left lanes, 285 eastbound, the outer loop before Jonesboro Road. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Partly cloudy through this afternoon, an isolated rain shower or thunderstorm possible, high 87. Lows tonight in the mid-60s. Tomorrow, partly cloudy with isolated rain showers, high 88. Friday, sunny skies, high near 90.
82 degrees. More news at 2 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. 95.5 WSB.
Yeah, okay. So the courage to tell you the truth. I didn't plan to coordinate that intro with this monologue, but we do have to have a little bit of a talk. We will figure out at the top of the hour what the Federal Reserve decides, looking more and more like a quarter-point interest rate cut as opposed to a half-point. Buddy of mine, I read an article on Monday, so I did my 4 Things to Know this afternoon podcast yesterday and said a half-point looked to be the consensus. Monday, I saw an article on CNBC that said that, and then a buddy of mine who actually is an expert on this pinged me yesterday and said, actually, it's a consensus is a quarter point. We'll find out at the top of the hour what it actually is. The Open Market Committee started yesterday, and we'll get the statement from them here shortly. The forecast now looks like possibly 2 more rate cuts instead of 3 rate cuts. And we'll see where this goes. Waiting for Jerome Powell. We'll see if we can bring that to you live here at the top of the hour when this goes through. Right now, the Dow is up 221, S&P down 10, NASDAQ down 105. We will see. But there's a story in the Wall Street Journal. Headline from the Journal: the 2-speed economy is back as low-income Americans give up gains. There are 2 economies in the United States right now. They're moving in different directions. For high earners and many older Americans, the economy looks robust. They are still spending like gangbusters. Their 401k accounts and homes have soared in value. They nabbed 3% mortgages when rates were low. Some might worry about AI eventually coming for their jobs, but now their positions look relatively secure. For many others, momentum has stalled or reversed. The big wage growth experienced by low-income workers during the pandemic has petered out. Those workers are curbing their spending and in some cases are struggling to find jobs. Unemployment for Black Americans and many young people has jumped. Home prices and rents have risen sharply, making housing increasingly affordable.
The divided fortunes of rich and poor in the United States may sound like an old story, yet in recent years, workers on the low end of the spectrum began modestly narrowing the gap as acute labor shortages enabled them to switch jobs and bargain hard for better wages. Now the gulf is widening again. For much of the past few years, wages for the bottom third of U.S. earners grew at a faster rate than for the top third. But since the start of the year, top earners have pulled far ahead. As the unemployment rate has slowly crept up and job growth has fallen more sharply, wage growth has moderated, but particularly for low-wage workers, said Aaron Dubb, an economics professor at the University of Massachusetts Amherst. This is disappointing news for those who were hoping the reversal in wage inequality would be a more permanent feature of the U.S. landscape. In August, annual wage and salary growth fell to 0.9% for the bottom third, the smallest gain since 2016, Bank of America data showed. The top third saw growth of 3.6% year over year, the most since November 2021. That divergence was echoed in year-over-year spending growth in August, with household spending rising just 0.3% for lower-income households and 2.2% for higher-income households. The cooling labor market has fueled much of the divergence, says David Tinsley of Bank of America. Federal job data and Bank of America internal figures suggest that the softening job market is affecting lower-income households more than other groups. The booming stock portfolios of higher-income households are probably also playing a role, providing high earners with confidence to spend more. The top 10% households making more than $250,000 a year account for more of the nation's total spending than ever, 49.2%. compared with 45.7% a decade ago. Wealthy Americans' spending power is continuing to buoy luxury segments of some industries, including airlines and high-end sneakers. Flights to international destinations and in-premium classes are still selling out. Domestic and main cabin sales have softened. And on it goes. You know, one of the major upsides here in the market and the data? There are fewer people in the middle class. Why is that the upside? Because more and more of the middle class has been elevated into the upper income. In fact, now people who make $250,000 a year and they're the top 10%, actually most of those people consider themselves middle class because they haven't felt like they have elevated in society, but actually they have. Here's the problem. I want you to look at the left right now. How angry they are, how emotional they are, how unhinged they are, how combative they are, how defensive of craziness they are, from trans rights to anti-Semitism. Low-income voters are the people who don't turn out in midterms. High-income voters do. The higher your income, the more likely you are to be a Democrat. And the more likely you are to turn out. Low-income voters in this country tend to be more pro-Trump. They tend to be less likely to turn out. And if they continue to feel like the economy is working against them, they may not want the left in power, but they'll think, we got to send a message. We're going to stay home. This summer, the president hit Brazil with a 50% tariff. The price of a pound of unroasted Brazilian beans has jumped to more than $6 from $4.50, according to Dan Hunnewell, the owner of Coffee Brothers, a supplier in New York. The United States has only a few regions suitable for growing coffee. The amount they produce is not significant enough to meet the country's demands. Other countries face lower tariffs, but they can't match Brazil's supply. And as demand increased for beans from alternate sources, prices for non-Brazilian coffee has gone up. Importers are talking about a 10% to 20% increase on the bags they've been purchasing. It could go as high as 50% because as more people move from Brazilian coffee to other coffee from Central and South America, particularly Colombian and Costa Rican, those coffee prices are going up because of the increase in demand. It's a supply and demand issue. The prices of beer have gone up. Why? Aluminum cans from aluminum tariffs. Grocery prices have started going back up. Sales of heavy trucks are falling.
That's important. Why is it important? Because when heavy truck sales begin to decline in the United States, they're the most popular vehicles in the United States, and when they begin to decline, it's a leading indicator of recessionary impact. We could still have positive economic growth, but it slows down significantly. The Atlanta Fed has said their internal charting shows actually robust growth of about 3%. The problem here is, where's the growth happening? The growth is happening in sectors that benefit higher income households, not low income households. Low income households are starting to feel the effects of the tariffs, and those tariffs are impacting them even at the grocery store. And that's a problem. I'm not going to argue over tariffs. I know many of you are tired of hearing me complain about the impact of the tariffs. Here's my concern, though. It would be dangerous right now for the left to take back any power at all. I think you can recognize that this would be a problem right now when the political left is as unhinged and angry as they are, so worked up over transgenderism. They can't even acknowledge that the Charlie Kirk assassin was on the left. They hate Donald Trump. They don't want to work with Donald Trump. They're willing to shut down the government to stop Donald Trump. You can't reason with them on any issue because it's always but Trump, but Trump, but Trump. I would hate for them to get back into power. But if the economy's not working for Trump's core voters, and that is lower income working class voters, if the economy's not working for them, they're going to feel betrayed. They may not blame Donald Trump, but they will blame Republicans. And the midterms are not about Donald Trump. They're about the Republicans. They're about keeping the Republican control of the House and the Senate. And they may not show up. They may say, screw you guys, epoxy on your houses. None of you are helping me. And in so doing, the Democrats take back the House. You have a swing state in Georgia with the Senate elections and in North Carolina. You got all of these races that we really, really, really need to focus the GOP on. We got the situation in Texas with Ken Paxton versus John Cornyn. If Paxton wins, I want you to be clear here. I'm not saying he will lose the general. I think Paxton will win the general, but it will be extremely expensive for the GOP because he's such a controversial radioactive candidate. He's had affairs on his wife. There have been corruption scandals. There have been federal indictments, been all sorts of things. And you, if you're the base in Texas, you can dismiss it all. You can say, he's a great guy. They cleared him through impeachment, blah, 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 blah. The divorce, the affairs, all of that, it's going to matter to swing voters in the general election. They will make him radioactive and he can win, but every penny extra spent to get him across the finish line that you wouldn't have to use for John Cornyn is a penny that does not go to beat John Ossoff in Georgia. It's a penny that doesn't go to beat Roy Cooper in North Carolina. It's a penny that doesn't go to help other Republicans in swing states get elected. It's a penny that doesn't go to all of these other races where you've got to be on your A game in every single one of them to get elected, and it's a lot of money that gets sucked out of the House seats and out of the Senate seats to get Paxton elected in Texas, and you've got to be on your A game with an economy that's hurting the bottom of society, that's hurting the poor, that's hurting lower income, that's hurting blue-collar workers. You've got to be on your A game or they stay home, and one of the ways to be on your A game is to rev up the economy for them. And you know an easy way to rev up the economy for them is don't have a tariff on coffee. Don't have a tariff on grocery imports, on vegetable imports. You can have your tariffs on these countries if you want them, but you can exempt grocery staples and lower those prices. You can exempt aluminum for beer cans. You can do these things and help lower income Americans feel like they're getting something in the economy. The entire point of the tariffs was to resurrect manufacturing in the country. And as people like me warned, you can't do that overnight. But the elections, in the grand scheme of things, happen overnight. And people feel like they're being left behind
by this economy. It's no longer Joe Biden's economy. And you can say that it's still Joe Biden's economy. You can say that. You can still say these are effects of Keynesian economics from the Biden administration. These are the effects of overspending in the Biden administration. And now we're pulling back this spending. You can say all of those things. I want you to understand there are legitimate arguments for those things. Whether I agree or not, there are legitimate arguments. We don't have to argue over those things. What I'm saying is that Joe Biden's not president now, and he's not going to be president of the midterms, and so the Republicans have got to have an answer for it, and they can't 2 years in when we get to the midterms say, but Joe Biden, but Joe Biden. That's what the left does with Donald Trump, and it doesn't work with the voters. They see the here and now. The Wall Street Journal is the most Republican-friendly newspaper in America, and when it's saying lower-income, blue-collar voters are saying this economy is starting to not work for them, it should be a big red flag for you. And don't do like the Democrats where you stick your head in the sand and say it's just it's a talking point. It's not real. Look at the economic data. Look at what the Atlanta Fed says about the GDP. I don't care what the Atlanta Fed says about the GDP. I care about what the voters say about the GDP, and the voters are saying it's a problem. It's amazing to me how quickly the Republicans are turning into Democrats with their logic on, no, actually, the economic data says it's good. The statistics say it's good. That's what the Democrats did, and they just lost a massive election because they cited the data, not the voters. I'm sounding the alarm now in the middle of September of the year before the election, not because I want to blow up the GOP, but because I want them to I want them to hear me that you got time to fix this. You have time to fix the problem with the economy. The Federal Reserve cutting rates today is going to help, but it's not going to be the only thing you have the opportunity to do. The lower middle class and lower income voters feel like they're being left behind in the economy. Part of that is seeing the upper income part of the middle class ascending to upper income Americans overall. But Republicans, I'm telling you, if you can't figure out a way to make the economy work for the lower income voters who are your base, who generally don't turn out anyway in midterms, you're going to disincentivize them from even caring about the midterms. And you're going to get the Democrats back in charge of the House of Representatives, if not the Senate. And it's going to be game over for President Trump's agenda. He's not going to be able to get anything done. He'll be fighting impeachment after impeachment after impeachment after impeachment. I don't want the Democrats in charge. So Republicans, figure out the economy right now. And I can tell you, I'll be the truth teller to you, and you don't want to hear the truth. Tariffs are part of the problem right now.
When the truth seems hazy, Eric will clear the way. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
150 Cool-Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Still watching the brake light battle into Marietta and Kennesaw, all due to right lane construction. 75 northbound passing Barrett Parkway, exit 269. The express lanes are pointed northbound. Use those if you have a Peach Pass or Highway 41. Cobb Parkway. Downtown, starting to see some volume pick up. 75-85 southbound, leaving 17th Street as you make the trek down to I-20. Traffic brought to you by Whole Foods Market. Find seafood savings at Whole Foods Market. Get 20% off sustainable, wild-caught, fresh swordfish steaks with Prime through September 23rd while supplies last. Shop in store or online. Terms apply. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
More local news.
Atlanta's airport's bracing for record-breaking crowds. Apparent murder in the Grant Park area.
More traffic.
A crash in the Cobb Cloverleaf.
One crash on I-20 westbound.
You're on and off the brakes beginning at University.
More weather.
Looking at rotation that is near the city of Brooks, thunderstorm is capable of producing a quick spin-up tornado.
Atlanta's Morning News.
Governor Kemp reacting to that tariff pause.
Tomorrow morning at 5.
Wake up with 95.5 WSB. How Atlanta starts its day.
If you're ignoring any cracked bricks or concrete cracks, you could be ignoring underlying foundation problems. You'll want to get ahead of these problems sooner rather than later. Don't wait any longer. Visit AquaGuard.net today to book your free inspection. Remember, AquaGuard.
The foods we eat can be downright bad for our health. This is Sue from Bread Beckers with Sue's Healthy Minute. I have a degree in food science, and for more than 30 years, I've been teaching the truth about real bread. Not the stuff you buy at the store. I'm talking real bread made with freshly milled flour. When you buy bread from the store, take a look at the ingredients. Enriched flour means that the nutritious bran and germ has been removed to improve the shelf life. Then a few B vitamins and iron are added back back to replace the multitude of nutrients lost. That's not enrichment in my book. And today, that label may even read contains bioengineered food ingredients. Food should never be bioengineered. At Bread Beckers in Woodstock, we can teach you how to make real bread loaded with fiber and nutrients. A delicious, healthy, affordable solution that can improve your health and change your life. Visit breadbeckers.com or our Bread Beckers store in Woodstock.
Men, we spend our whole lives asking the question, do I measure up? We're in an endless struggle to be reassured that we do. If you're like me, you've discovered by now that no amount of achievements or recognition ever quiets the nagging question. I want to invite you to discover what I've found, that only in a relationship with God through Jesus Christ can that question find a satisfactory affirmation. In Him, you do and will measure up. This is Tom Gray, and This Stuff Matters.
ThisStuffMatters.net.
At Barlow Lexus of South Atlanta, they just don't sell cars. They set the standard of amazing. Enjoy personalized service, a Starbucks cafe, and airport parking concierge, because you deserve more than just a car. Visit BarlowLexusSouthAtlanta.com or call 800-NEW-LEXUS today, because they value you.
WSB Atlanta, WSB BFM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Another accident? What happened? Our truck driver got cut off, and they're getting blamed. No witnesses, no proof, and insurance is skyrocketing.
Wait, our drivers shouldn't take the blame for this?
Exactly why we need Samsara. Their AI dashcam show real-time video proving when our drivers aren't at fault.
So we protect our drivers and avoid false claims?
Yep. Companies using Samsara have exonerated their drivers and saved millions on insurance.
Protect your drivers and your bottom line at Samsara.com. Samsara operates smarter.
Hey homeowners, it's Eric Erickson here. Do your windows and doors stick? Are you noticing cracks in the drywall or the brickwork? You might have a big problem. Serious issues need the serious experts at Engineered Solutions of Georgia. Their skills are unmatched, as are their foundation solutions. When these guys repair a problem, it's the last time you'll have to worry about it. Done once, done right. Start today with a free inspection. Go to ESOGrepair.com. That's ESOGrepair.com.
Dial 678 ESOG now.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Welcome back. It is Eric Erickson here to Springfield, Ohio. We go. And Scott, welcome to the show. Scott, how are you?
Doing well. Yourself?
Great. What's going on?
So I just wanted to comment on your last portion. So when you talk about tariffs are hurting us. So from my perspective, our last 4 years, we've just been keeping our head above waters as far as like the lower income and lower middle class families are concerned. And then now for this first couple months, year going on, we're talking about all this money coming in from tariffs and how the economy's looking better and everything. I just haven't felt it yet. I haven't. I know there's a lot of money supposedly coming in on these tariffs, but I'm not seeing where it's doing us in this financial lower income, lower middle class families any better.
Well, and I do have to say, and it's people don't like it when you point it out, but it is true that the money for tariffs is coming from U.S. businesses mostly. It's not coming from foreign countries and businesses. And as a result, wages aren't growing as much as they were because they got to pay the tariffs to the extent that consumers aren't. But yeah, I think Republicans need to be mindful of that. Now, Scott, listen, I would be remiss if I didn't ask you a question. How are the Haitians doing?
Fine. I mean, there's nothing really going on major. It's normal everyday life.
Yeah. I was kicking myself when I saw Springfield, Ohio. Wait a second. And then a buddy of mine texted me and says, you didn't ask about the Haitians.
Yeah, it's nothing crazy.
Yeah.
It was blown way out of proportion in my opinion. And it should have never been a standing point to begin with.
I completely agree. But to your point, I hope everybody's listened to you. And thanks for calling in because, Scott is reflective of what the data is showing, that lower income voters who have a higher propensity to vote Republican now, but a lower propensity to turn out in midterms, they're not feeling the economic gains that upper income people are, who have a higher propensity to turn out and a greater propensity to vote Democrat. That's a problem for the GOP headed into the midterms next year. They need to deal with the economy. Now, one of the things that every Republican in Congress should do is go take the capitalism class from Hillsdale College.
And then they got a great class on basic economics as well they should take. Every Republican in Congress should. You can take them too, completely for free. You go to ericforhillsdale.com, E-R-I-C-K, ericforhillsdale.com. You sign up for Hillsdale College. And you take the classes. They're 30-minute videos you watch from some of the best faculty at Hillsdale. Depending on the topic, depends on the number of videos there are. Some are 10, some are 12. I think there's one that's 7. Depends on the class. They're all 30-minute videos. You learn a lot. In the capitalism class, you learn about what sets it apart, why it's unique, why it's so robust, why it helps more people than other economic systems elevate out of poverty. In fact, we're seeing the middle class of this country elevating into upper incomes because of capitalism. You go to Eric, E-R-I-C-K, ericforhillsdale.com. You sign up with Hillsdale College, you take the class, and you learn a lot. You get a certificate of completion. It's just great stuff. When we come back, speaking of the economy, the Federal Reserve, we should have their decision in the next few minutes as to what they're going to do with rates. I will try to get you that news live when we come back, see if we can hear from Jerome Powell as well. He'll be speaking to the country about what they've decided to do. It's going to be big news.
All the notifications you need.
The story developing in Marietta.
All the local and breaking news alerts you need.
We're following breaking news in Atlanta.
All in one place.
The 95.5 WSB app.
Download it today.
Y'all, it's Eric. Windows 10 is sunsetting. End of support on October 14th of this year. It's also my anniversary. No end of support for my marriage, just end of support for your computer if you're on Windows 10. You got to update. Now, what does that mean, end of support? It means Microsoft is going to stop issuing security patches for your computer if you're on Windows 10. So you actually do need to update for your own good and safety, and Vision Computers can help you transfer to Windows 11. How do you do it? You call them at 404-COMPUTE and say, Eric sent you, I need some help. They can get you upgraded to Windows 11. It is for your own good and safety and that of your company that you move to Windows 11 because of the security updates, if nothing else. So call Vision Computer at 404-COMPUTE or go to visioncomputers.com. Tell them Eric sent you. You might be able to save some money. You got to get it done before October 14th because you're not going to get security patches from Microsoft after that for Windows 10. Let Vision Computer take care of you. 404-COMPUTE or visioncomputers.com.
News, weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB. Atlanta's news and talk.
At 2 o'clock, I'm Bill Caiaccio with our top story. A warning today about America's health. The fired CDC director tells a Senate committee why she was fired by Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
Secretary Kennedy said he let Dr. Susan Menares go last month because he couldn't trust her. Menares pushing back, saying Kennedy demanded 2 things of her that she could not ethically do.
He directed me to commit in advance to approving every ACIP recommendation, regardless of the scientific evidence. He also directed me to dismiss career officials responsible for vaccine policy without cause.
Tomorrow, the Vaccine Advisory Panel meets for 2 days to consider a number of vaccine recommendations, including hepatitis B, measles, mumps, rubella, and COVID. Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
84 degrees in Atlanta. Isolated rain showers possible today and tomorrow. Meteorologist Christina Edwards has Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast coming up. Roswell police are concerned about a rising number of crypto crimes targeting the elderly. In the latest case, a woman lost over $100,000. Officer Tim Lupo with Roswell Police says the scams almost always begin with an impersonation.
The criminal will call pretending to be from a trusted organization, like in this particular case, the Federal Trade Commission or your bank, or tech support from a company like Apple or Microsoft.
The scammer tells you your account's been compromised or you owe a fine, and the only way to settle it is to make deposits into a Bitcoin ATM. Opening statements today in the trial of an alleged gang member charged with murdering 8-year-old Secoria Turner during the Rashard Brooks protests in Atlanta in the summer of 2020. Fulton County Prosecutor Adam Abate's statement to the jury.
What Charmaine will tell you is in the moment since the gunfire is occurring, she hears her daughters cry out, Mama, Mama, I've been shot.
But Julian Conley's attorney Arnold Regas says,
make no mistake about it, the evidence will prove that he did not commit this crime.
He says the bullet trajectory and the witness statements don't line up with Connolly's position or look that night. Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger is the latest Republican to enter the Republican race for governor. Kennesaw State political science professor Dr. Kerwin Swint says there are some challenges facing Raffensperger.
As a candidate, he has a lot of baggage, obviously, from the 2020 election storyline. That's going to be hard to overcome, frankly, in a Republican Party primary.
President Trump has already endorsed Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones in the GOP primary. Now some breaking news just into WSB. The Federal Reserve lowering interest rates by 1/4 point, and it's signaling 2 more cuts by the end of the year. Stay with WSB for reaction to the Fed's decision. It is now 2:02, and this news is sponsored by Brett Beckers. Up next, live team coverage of traffic and weather.
The most successful Metro Atlanta home builders and contractors all share a special secret. Randall Brothers is a preferred building partner trusted by pros, delivering expert guidance, quality materials, and accurate delivery. Randall Brothers will keep your project on time and on budget while providing the widest selection of materials in the city. Dave Baker here for Randall Brothers. Widest selection, industry expertise, accurate, no-hassle deliveries. RandallBrothers.com.
At Ameris Bank, we know that it's never just business when it's your business. I'm Brian Parks, head of commercial banking in Atlanta for Ameris Bank. Whether your business is looking to optimize cash flow, improve your payment technology, or grow more quickly, my team and I are here and ready to help with a superior level of service, smart banking technology, and local market expertise. I invite you to reach out to my team by visiting amerisbank.com/yourbusiness or a local branch near you. Ameris Bank, fiercely yours, member FDIC.
Are you looking for low maintenance and longer lasting exterior paint for your home?
A paint that will improve your home's curb appeal and value and save you money over the life of the product.
Forget about paint. You need Rhino Shield.
Jeff and Roxanne, local owners of Rhino Shield, the ultimate exterior coating for your home. Rhino Shield goes on like paint, looks like paint, but unlike paint, is guaranteed to last, backed by our 25-year transferable warranty.
Rhino Shield won't chip, crack, or peel, and it can be applied to any surface. Plus, our crews are set up to do any necessary repairs prior to Rhino Shield to ensure it will last.
For over 2 decades, we've helped thousands of homeowners improve their home's curb appeal and get durability that lasts with Rhino Shield.
Check out our work and visualize Rhino Shield on your home at rhinoshieldga.com.
Or call 678-205-4500 now for a free quote. rhinoshieldga.com.
Don't paint, don't vinyl, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Remember, rhinoshieldga.com.
Motorcycle riders know that a distracted driver can knock you down. It's nice to know that Steel Horse Law can pick you back up. Hey, it's Eric Von Hessler for Steel Horse Law, the Stein and Karen Law Group. In the worst possible scenario, when someone causes you to lay your bike down, Steel Horse Law will get you the best possible settlement. Their name strikes fear in the heart of big insurance companies because Steel Horse Law is respected and will make them pay. Visit steelhorselaw.com.
2:05, time for live team coverage of traffic and weather in the 24-hour traffic center. It's Alex Williams.
Hey, good afternoon, Bill. Still watching the slow ride between Marietta and Kennesaw on 75 northbound due to right lane construction at Barrett Parkway. Use Highway 41 in the express lanes. And 85 northbound, seeing delays leaving the airport from Cleveland Avenue, getting onto the connector, 75-85 northbound, due to right lane construction on that ramp, as well as on 75-85 north right there at Langford Parkway. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Partly cloudy through this afternoon, an isolated rain shower or thunderstorm possible, high 87. Lows tonight in the mid-60s. Tomorrow, partly cloudy with isolated rain showers, high 88. Friday, sunny skies, high near 90.
Right now it's 81 in Sandy Springs, 85 in Douglasville, 84 in McDonough. More news at 2:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Bill Caiaccio, 95.5 WSB.
It's the WSB 5K a day bonus blitz. This hour's keyword is cash. C-A-S-H. Go to the WSB Radio app or WSBRadio.com/cash for your chance to win. Again, that keyword is cash. Join me live at 3 for the Von Hessler Doctrine, and I'll have your next keyword and chance to win at 5 p.m.
Hello, America. It's Eric Erickson here. I hope you are doing well. We do have breaking news out of the gate. The Federal Reserve has cut interest rates by a quarter point, by 0.25%. The Dow, the S&P, the NASDAQ, all of them now going up. NASDAQ still in negative territory, but it is only down 34 points now. It had been down over 100 points. S&P's up 11 points. The Dow is now up 448. When we went into commercial break, it was only up 200 points. The Russell 2000 up 15 points. Now, what has changed in the statement? There is a parsing of the statement. They have gotten rid of the line. Although swings in net exports continue to affect the data, it says recent indicators suggest that growth of economic activity moderated. Job gains have slowed and the unemployment rate has edged up but remains low. They have struck the line. Labor market conditions remain solid. They do note inflation has moved up and remains somewhat elevated. You know, this is largely a committee. Now, interestingly, Stephen Mirren preferred to lower the target range for the Fed funds rate by 2 percentage points at the meeting. They all agreed, other than Stephen Mirren actually voted against it. He wanted to reduce it even lower. Now, interestingly enough, one of the names on the list is Lisa Cook. Lisa Cook and Austin Goolsbee, both there. Austin Goolsbee, of course, was in the Obama administration, but Lisa Cook is the one who the Trump administration tried to oust, was not able to oust Lisa Cook. The government, or the federal court there in D.C. declined to allow him to oust her. She has documents showing that she didn't list the Atlanta property as her primary property. Actually, the loan document that we've got from the Federal Housing Administration shows she did. It was the loan estimate, and they're saying, oh, the loan estimate. That loan estimate shows that there was no intent. I got to tell you, personally, I think that you got to see the actual document, and it looks like the actual loan document showed she listed it as a primary residence, not a vacation home, even if she on the loan estimate said it was going to be a vacation home. Now, the question then becomes, was it an error? Was it a clerical error? Something like that. That's what she's claiming now, is that it was an error. I think the Supreme Court's going to have to get involved in this, but they haven't chosen to get involved in it right now, which means Lisa Cook was allowed to be on the board, and by being on the board was able to cast this vote. Nonetheless, Federal Reserve cutting interest rate by a quarter point. I will say this. There's a growing speculation among financial entities, from Bank of America to J.P. Morgan to Citibank and the like, Citigroup and the like, saying they expect maybe 2 to 3 more cuts this year, not just one more cut this year, because there are warning signs that the economy is slowing. Now, you don't cut interest rates when the economy is speeding. This has always been the conundrum of the talking points with the Trump administration right now, because the Trump administration had argued the economy was so robust, you should cut interest rates. But you don't cut interest rates when the economy is so robust, because that sparks more inflation typically when you do that. So you cut rates when the economy is slowing. And the Federal Reserve statement now suggests the economy actually is slowing, and that's why they're cutting rates. Now, the question then really is, do they cut rates more? And by the way, I said it wrong. Stephen Mirren did want a half-point cut, not a quarter-point cut. I said 2-point cuts. I misread how they. So what the Federal Reserve does is kind of fascinating. The Federal Reserve issues a statement, and the next quarter they issue another statement, and they adjust the prior statement. And instead of releasing a new statement, they release a statement, and there are redactions and additions and word changes. And so what you do to read the tea leaves of the Federal Reserve is you take the old statement and the new statement, and you see what words they added, what words they subtracted. And my problem is I misread it. It had a 1/4, and the 4 was crossed out, and then it had a 2, and I read it as he wanted a 2% rate cut. They actually meant a half-point rate cut, but Mirren wanted more, but it's okay. 9 of the 19 participants indicated just one more reduction this year. 10 of the participants saw 2 reductions this year, which would indicate moves in October and December. One official didn't want to make any cuts, including Wednesday's cut. So one official didn't want to make a single cut this year. 10 of them want to make 2 more cuts this year. 9 of them want just 1 more cut this year. Let me just read you this from the CNBC coverage of this. Governors Michelle Bowman and Christopher Waller looked at for possible additional dissents, voted for the 25 basis point reduction. All were appointed by Donald Trump, who had badgered the Fed to cut not merely in its traditional quarter-point moves, but to lower the Fed funds rate quickly and aggressively. In the post-meeting statement, the committee again characterized economic activity as having moderated, but added language that job gains have slowed and noted that inflation has moved up and remains somewhat elevated. Lower job growth and higher inflation put the Fed's twin goals of stable prices and full employment in conflict. Uncertainty about the economic outlook remains elevated, the statement said. The committee is attentive to the risks to both sides of its dual mandate and judges the downside risks to unemployment have risen. Along with the rate decision, officials in their closely watched dot plot of individual expectations pointed to 2 cuts before the end of the year. The grid showed a wide level of disparity, with 1 dot, possibly Mirren's, pointing to a total of 1.25 percentage points in additional reductions this year. Now, this is what's so interesting here. This is one of the things about the Federal Reserve and the Open Markets Committee. They release a plot, and every member of the Federal Reserve puts dots on the board for how many rate cuts they think we need and where they think the ultimate rate will go. So this is CNBC writing. The plot is done anonymously with 1 dot for each meeting participant. But Mirren had advocated for much lower rates. 9 of the 19 participants indicated just 1 more reduction. 10 saw 2. 1 official didn't want to make any rate cuts. The plot indicates 1 cut in 2026, significantly lower than current market pricing of 3. Traders had fully priced in this week's move. Officials also indicated other reductions in 2027 as the Fed approaches the long-term neutral rate of 3%. A half dozen officials saw the long-run rate below the median neutral level. Projections released following the meeting on general economic conditions saw slightly faster economic growth than the June projections, while the outlook for unemployment and inflation was unchanged. A stunning level of political drama preceded the meeting. Yes, that's true. So where does this leave us? Well, the unemployment rate hit 4.3% in August, tame by historical standards, but higher than October 2021. Job creation has been stagnant. The economy created nearly a fewer million jobs than initially reported. And there are warning signs of economic slowdown. Those warning signs of economic slowdown are part of the problem that Republicans are going to have to grapple with. Now, why is there economic slowdown right now? Well, there are a variety of factors, some of them global, some of them local. I'm going to avoid saying tariff. Part of the problem is the mixed messaging coming out of Washington on taxes and everything else. And that's not just a Republican problem here. You see, let me paint a larger macro picture for you, and it's one you got to understand, and it's one Republicans need to understand. One of the reasons we're having slower growth in the country is because of the growth of the federal government, and Republicans have got to grapple with this issue. I want to explain this to you, and let me use the metaphor of buckets. You got 2 buckets. You're an investor, and you've got $20. You can throw your $20 in the public bucket or the private bucket, the private sector economy or the public sector economy. As government continues to grow, the government has to charge higher rates to attract your $20. Interest rates, the bond yield. The government wants your money. And in wanting your money, the government's got to induce you to invest with the public sector. When you throw your $20 into the public sector bucket, your $20 hasn't gone into businesses. Your $20 hasn't gone into the private sector. So a business doesn't have your $20 now to
grow wages, to make investments, to do manufacturing, to do anything. As the government grows, the private sector shrinks. And our national debt continues to go up, $37 trillion on the way to $38 trillion, on the way to $39 trillion. And so every dollar that goes from you and me and investors around the world into the U.S. buying government bonds is a dollar that doesn't go into the private sector. That slows the economy. A giant public sector is a suck and a drain on the private sector. If you want a private sector to grow robustly, you've got to restrain the size and scope of the government. So one of the reasons the U.S. has outperformed every other government in the world is that our public sector has been smaller than those public sectors. We don't have the socialized economy that they do. And yet that's where we're headed, even with Republicans in charge, even with Trump in charge. We're having the government picking the winners and losers. We're having the government trying to steer where the economy is invested in, what investments are made, how they're made, rebuilding manufacturing in this country. It's a tagline, but it's also something where the Republicans are trying to bring a utopia. They're trying to bring heaven to earth with robust manufacturing in the United States, but the government never steers money as efficiently as the private sector. That's just a fact. You can dispute it all you want, but the basic rules of economics always dictate that government is worse at spending money than the private sector. And yet as government grows, it takes up more money, it takes up more space, and it strangles the private sector. It smuggles the private sector. That's why the Fed is worried about slower long-term economic growth, because the national debt is getting so big. So if the Republicans want to have a meaningful impact on the economy for lower income workers, they've got to shrink the size and scope of the federal government, and they've shown no desire to do that. Now, this is just basic economics. I'm not an economist, and I know this stuff. I know how to read books. I know how to talk to economists. As the private sector grows, the public sector shrinks. You don't have an unlimited pot of money. No one does. And when an investor can get a guaranteed high interest rate in the public sector, funded by the full faith and credit of the United States government, it's an easy investment for him to make quick money, as opposed to taking risks in the private sector. So you got to shrink the size of the federal government. A federal quarter-point interest rate cut is going to help the economy. The Dow is now soaring. It's well over 400 points now. The NASDAQ has actually gone back down now. The S&P has gone back down now. The Dow, actually, as I'm talking, is now only up 320 points. Why? Because they're now assessing how many more interest rate cuts we can get with the balance of inflation, because as you cut interest rates, it could rev up the economy and cause inflation. It's a delicate balancing act for the Fed. I don't envy the Fed governors, including Jerome Powell, for being in this mess. They wanted to be there. They took the jobs. But now there's a political firestorm over what they should have cut. But had they cut rates a quarter point or a half point to a point, it would have indicated they think the economy is really struggling, and it's not. But it's also not growing robustly. And the private sector can't grow robustly when the public sector is growing as robustly as it is. That's the trade-off in the economy, and it's something the Republicans have got to be concerned with to get people back to work, and to get lower-income Americans feeling like they have an investment and a stake in the American economy.
Follow Eric on X, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble. Search EW Erickson.
220 Cool Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Still watching the brake lights between Marietta and Kennesaw with that right lane construction. 75 northbound Barrett Parkway, exit 269. You can use the express lanes with the Peach Pass or Highway 41 as an alternate. Checking on a new slow zone out of Norcross into DeKalb, 85 southbound between Jimmy Carter Boulevard and Pleasantdale Road. Traffic brought to you by Back to the Future, the musical at the Fox Theater. Back to the Future, the musical has its destination set for the Fox Theater from September 23rd through the 28th. Get your tickets yesterday at BroadwayInAtlanta.com. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
It's the WSB 5K a day bonus blitz. This hour's keyword is cash. C-A-S-H. Go to the WSB Radio app or WSBRadio.com/cash for your chance to win. Again, that keyword is cash. Join me live at 3 for the Von Hessler Doctrine, and I'll have your next keyword and chance to win at 5 p.m.
It's been a year since the last presidential election, and the economy has been on a roller coaster ever since. If you're in the home stretch, looking towards retirement, you may be feeling more anxious than ever about what the next few years could mean for your money. It's Eric Erickson here. If you're over 50 and have $500,000 or more saved for retirement, join me and fellow WSB radio show host, frequent guest on Fox Business with Stuart Varney and Charles Payne, David Nicholas of Nicholas Wealth Management, for a special live event Tuesday, October 7th at 6 p.m. at the Marietta Country Club. We'll break down what the post-election economy means for your retirement and the opportunities and risks that could impact you over the next year. Seating is very limited, so bring a spouse or a friend, enjoy food and drinks, and receive information that may help preserve your future. This is a registration-only event. Call 404-890-5606 or visit nicholaswealth.com to reserve your spot. Again, it's me, Eric Erickson, with David Nicholas, Tuesday, October 7th at 6 p.m. at Marietta Country Club. Don't miss it. Call 404-890-5606 or go to nicholaswealth.com. That's 404-890-5606 or nicholaswealth.com.
Nicholas Wealth Management is an independent financial services firm and uses a variety of different investment strategies. This is prepared for informational purposes only. It does not address specific investment objectives or the financial situation and particular needs of any person who listens to this show. Eric Erickson is a current client and is paid for this ad.
Attention men, does ED and PE have you down? Well, great news. Choice Men's Health has the latest breakthrough treatments that can get you up and running. Meet the specialist who is dedicated to helping you perform better than ever in the bedroom.
Hi, I'm Dr. Katz, Chief Medical Director at Choice Men's Health. Our custom treatment plans have a 98% success rate at improving ED and PE on your very first visit, even if Viagra and Cialis have failed. Regardless of your age and medical history, we are here and dedicated to help you regain your love life.
Don't wait. Call Choice Men's Health now. We are so confident we can help. For a limited time, we're offering to cover your first treatment for free. Call 404-400-1170. Call now to claim your free treatment. 404-400-1170. Results guaranteed on your first visit or it's free. 404-400-1170. Choice Men's Health, the only choice for your health.
Did you know that eating healthier and more delicious food is not only good for you, but affordable as well? Hi, it's Sue from Bread Beckers with Sue's Healthy Minute. At the Bread Beckers store in Woodstock, we can teach you how to make real, delicious bread loaded with fiber and nutrients from real whole grains. A healthy, delicious, and affordable solution for your family. Eating real bread will satisfy your hunger and greatly reduce the amount of food you need to eat. Plus, your improved health from eating real bread may even reduce the need for frequent doctor visits. That's what Real Bread did for our family. 2 doctor visits with 9 kids in 25 years. I have a degree in food science, and for more than 30 years, I've studied the incredible health benefits of whole grains and real bread. So if you're struggling with bowel issues, high cholesterol, weight gain, warts, or kids who seem to be constantly sick, take the first steps to a healthier, more affordable life. Visit breadbeckers.com or our Bread Beckers store in Woodstock.
Hey, this is Robbie with Ben Hill Renovations, the preferred deck experts heard on the Home Fix-It Show. We're well known for our superior craftsmanship for decks and outdoor living spaces. And at Ben Hill Renovations, we provide that same attention to detail when it comes to roofing, siding, windows, and doors. So get your project started today and call to schedule a free estimate. Or you can stop by our showroom in Douglasville, online at bhrenovations.com. Ben Hill Renovations, creating raving fans since 1964.
All the news, weather, and traffic you need. 95.5 WSB.
For Apple CarPlay. Hello. It is Eric Erickson here. The phone number is 877-973-7425. Don't forget, you can text Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to the number 33777. And when you do, I send you back a long list of relevant links for the show.
So you can subscribe to my show notes, the podcast, you get the live stream, you get the 4 Things to Know This Afternoon podcast link, and all my social media links. You can get all those things. I think it is worth texting Eric to 33777 just so you can see all those things. Follow me around social media and the like. And I feel compelled to say one thing given the ongoing emails and stuff I've gotten from people. Look, I'm not worried. I said it the other day, but I guess, different people listen on different days. I'm not worried. I didn't have Charlie Kirk's profile. I have been asked and admonished that I should stop saying where I'm going, and stuff, which I've always felt kind of a connection to the audience to say, I'm going to be so and so, and if you want to come hang out and stuff. And now they're like, nope, gotta stop. And it kind of sucks because I like to be as relational with you guys as I can, but even some of you are like, okay, please stop. So I will stop. And I'm doing a couple of private events in the country and in the future coming up. I don't think I need security, but a lot of public events now I will. The downside, of course, is that a lot of times, a lot of these events, they're not with my radio station. They're the national show, which means I got to find it in my budget to cover the security. So really what I think I'm just going to do is like get Charlie or somebody to show up and look intimidating, and people will think he's security, because otherwise y'all got to step up your paid subscriptions to the show notes so I can pay for the security. But I will be fine, and I'm not worried about it. I really am not worried about it at all. Everybody else is more worried for me than me. I'm surrounded by an army of angels, and I'll be fine. Between bank collapses, with interest rates now, they're cut, but they're still high. 22-year near high interest rates. Older Americans refusing to give up homes because they have such low rates. Gold prices skyrocketing right now. Swiss America has been the trusted leader in precious metals for 40 years. They've been warning people about a secret war on cash. If you want to safeguard your hard-earned cash from the war on cash, you need to get their free report. They're rated A+ by the Better Business Bureau. They can educate you on protecting your assets in their report. You can get it completely for free. It takes less than 15 minutes to read. It can save on your retirement and finances. You get a free copy by calling or texting 800-289-2646. The All Out War on Cash is growing, so get the Secret War on Cash report for free. You just mentioned Eric, E-R-I-C-K, when you call or text 800-289-2646. That's 800-289-2646. Just text Eric, E-R-I-C-K, or call them and say Eric Erickson sent me. They're very nice people when you call. You can also go to SwissAmerica.com/Eric, SwissAmerica.com/ERICK, or 800-289-2646. Message and data rates may apply.
When traffic hits.
I-75 completely shut down north and south between McDonough and Locust Grove.
The Triple Team Traffic Center has you covered.
Brake lights fill in on 316 westbound at Sugarloaf Parkway.
Your source for Atlanta's traffic.
Heavy police fire department activity.
Brought to you by the Cool Ray Lifetime Parts and Labor Warranty.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk. Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
At 2:30, I'm Bill Caiaccio with our top story. It is a WSB Money Update. The Fed cuts interest rates.
CBS News special report. The Federal Reserve has decided to cut interest rates for the first time this year by 1/4 point. Anticipation has been building for months about this announcement by the Fed, with President Trump constantly calling for the ouster of Fed Chair Jerome Powell. What's more important will be what Fed officials say about the probability of more cuts, says our Money Watch correspondent Kelly O'Grady.
The Fed is expecting to cut rates based on these new economic projections at the next 2 meetings. And you would likely see, based on this, 1/4 point in October and 1/4 point in December. Doesn't mean they can't change if new inflation data comes out and it's too high.
The Fed has been keeping rates on hold so far for the year because lower rates can push inflation higher, and it's been worried about how much President Trump's tariffs will raise prices for all kinds of products. The expectation is that they will keep lowering rates in order to prop up the slowing job market. CBS News special report. I'm Matt Piper.
Reaction on Wall Street. The Dow is up more than 400 points this hour. The S&P and NASDAQ, though, are down. The fired head of the CDC testifies about her firing today, telling a Senate committee she was let go after less than a month on the job following a meeting with Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy, Jr.
He said that the childhood vaccine schedule would be changing starting in September, and I needed to be on board with it.
Susan Menarez says she told Kennedy she couldn't be unless the changes were supported by data and evidence. Menarez says if vaccine recommendations aren't based on science, she believes preventable diseases will return. It is 2:32. This news sponsored by FGA Roofing.
You know, with Christie's Health, she does a lot of meal prep and eats a lot of grilled chicken. So I go to omahasteaks.com and I order a lot of their boneless, skinless chicken breasts because they're individually portioned. And all I do is I let them thaw, put some lemon juice on them and some salt, throw them on the grill, and that's what she eats through the week. And it's fantastic for her. It's great protein, and it's so easy because it comes from Omaha Steaks. And right now, you can do this, and you can load up your cart with so much more with the Red Hot Sales event. omahasteaks.com. Everything is 50% off right now. And then at checkout, you use promo code ERIC, ERICK, and you can get an extra $35 off, minimum order required. And then, you can get desserts, you can get sides, you can even get main courses. As your kids are back to school, it makes supper time real easy. omahasteaks.com right now. It's all 50% off, plus $35 extra off with promo code ERIC at checkout at omahasteaks.com. That's omahasteaks.com.
Is painting the house on your project list? Make this the last time you paint with Rhino Shield, backed by a 25-year warranty.
Don't paint, don't vinyl, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
This is Scott Slade with how a short phone call can change your life for the better. Take a few minutes and call MyLand and see if there's a way to put money in your pocket every month. There's so many options with MyLand. Here's an example. One of my friends at MyLand is looking at a reverse mortgage for his mom, who's 82. She's currently in a house that's paid for and too much to take care of by herself. So they're considering a reverse mortgage by selling her current house, then buying a smaller one by only putting 50% down and then putting the other 50% in her bank account, essentially trading homes and putting a couple of $100,000 in her pocket. If you or your parents have a similar situation, call MyLand, where the guys and gals there will put together a plan that's just right for you with no obligation. Call 770-817-2000. That's 770-817-2000. Online, it's myland.com. Spell it M-I-L-E-N-D. NMLS and Georgia Residential Mortgage Licensee 148769, located at 8995 West Side Parkway, Alpharetta, Georgia 30009. MyLand is an equal housing lender.
If your floors feel bouncy and uneven, it's time for AquaGuard Foundation Solutions Crawl Space Experts. Simply go to aquaguard.net and set up an appointment. It's fast and it's easy, and your floors will appreciate you. AquaGuard, the trusted local experts. Remember, AquaGuard.
At 2:34, Alex Williams in the traffic center.
Sounding a travel advisory in Norcross. 85 southbound crash in two center lanes just past Jimmy Carter Boulevard, exit 99. Already slow back to Indian Trail Road. You can use Buford Highway. And we got a right lane crash in DeKalb County. I-20 westbound Wesley Chapel Road, exit 68. Brake lights from Panola Road, while 285 northbound the outer loop in DeKalb is slow getting up to I-20 due to rolling construction in the left lane. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Partly cloudy through this afternoon with an isolated rain shower possible. High 87.
85 in Cartersville, 87 in East Point, 86 in Smyrna. More news at 3 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Bill Caiaccio, 95.5 WSB.
Politics and culture with clarity.
Greetings, conversationalists. It is Eric Erickson here across the United States of America. The phone number is 877-973-7425 if you want to be on the program. Something very weird is happening. No, maybe weird is not the word. Scummy, slimy, detestable, stronger, more accurate words. Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, and others are seeding a conspiracy theory that perhaps maybe, Charlie Kirk, he really hated what wasn't as down with the Jews as publicly claimed. It's very odd to see this happening all of a sudden by people. Candace Owens has been rebuked now by a number of people with Turning Point USA for some of the claims she's made. Ted Cruz actually, in response to a tweet by Tucker Carlson claimed that Charlie Kirk told him many times in private he didn't like Benjamin Netanyahu. He said Charlie Kirk saw Netanyahu as a destructive force and was horrified by the children being killed in Gaza. And Charlie Kirk believed Netanyahu was draining the lifeblood of the United States to serve his own ambitions. That's what Tucker Carlson says. Here's Ted Cruz's response. I'm getting tired of Tucker and his cronies falsely claiming Charlie agreed with me that Israel is terrible and the problem in America is all the Jews. And he says, I knew Charlie Kirk well, and indeed the very last conversation we had was how deeply concerned he was with the rising toxic wave of anti-Semitism on the right. To a degree, I think some people are misquoting Tucker Carlson. But also, I think Tucker Carlson has provocatively, I think, suggested perhaps that there were concerns. Tucker Carlson said Charlie Kirk told him that Epstein had connections to the Mossad. Carlson claimed Kirk hated Netanyahu, but he loved Israel. Carlson claims that before his death, Charlie Kirk lost a $2 million donation from the conference. Look, this trying to bring the Jews into the death of Charlie Kirk is really insane stuff from people on the right. Candace Owens in particular is probably the worst of it. I honestly, I don't know if she's crazy or if she's just looking at dollar signs coming in from the attention she gets. Maybe it's both. Behold the healing power of and. But it's contemptible stuff. Her level of demonization of others, her anti-Semitism, what she's done to Emmanuel Macron's wife, who's now suing her. It's just, I don't understand. I honestly, y'all, like, I try to be a rational human being and try to figure this stuff out. And I can't figure out what is up with her. Other than I think she's just trying to build a brand, and she's decided to build a brand on crazy. And I think it's got to be called out. Everyone, I did not know Charlie Kirk very well. We had very limited interactions. Everyone I know who actually does know Charlie Kirk, in fact, who was in the room with him at this supposed meeting where he was called out for lack of support for the Jews. In fact, my criticisms of Charlie Kirk, by and large, were him putting people on stage at events like Candace Owens, who had become very anti-Semitic. The people I know him who were there with him at the end said he was deeply concerned about the growing tide of anti-Semitism on the right. And he was increasingly vocal about how he loved Israel, and you couldn't be effectively a conservative and hate Israel. This glomming onto him to try to use him to fight the Jews. Where is the evil coming from? Well, I mean, I know theologically where the evil is coming from, but there really is something sinister festering on the left and the right that has become deeply, deeply anti-Semitic, that sees Jews everywhere. And it needs to be called out. I'm glad Ted Cruz stepped up today to be very vocal about it, and others have as well, because it's just deeply demented stuff. I don't know what is. I have people out all the time saying, "Is Tucker Carlson, is he in it for the money? Is it audience capture? What is?" I have got no idea. I assume audience capture. Candace Owens, I'm not sure if she's not insane. I typically try not to reference podcasters and others on the program, but given their stature and platforms, I think it's got to be said, when you're out there that antagonistic towards the Jews and embracing anti-Semitism, I'm deeply, deeply concerned about some of the voices on the right. There's nothing I can do about voices on the left, but on the right, There should be no place for anti-Semitism. And this, by the way, gets to my point about Matt Walsh the other day, saying there should be no enemies to the right of me. I may have significant disagreements, but I'm not going to criticize them. Look at the left. We all need to be against the left. Some of these people on the right have flipped over onto the left. It's horseshoe theory. They become progressive leftists, and they still claim the banner of the right. And a lot of people on the right say they're on my side. And when you're attacking the Jews in Israel, you're not on my side. You're an anti-Semite, and I want nothing to do with you, and I don't want them in the ranks of the right. I think that they see conspiracy theories where there are none. They see evil where it is misplaced. They direct their evil towards the target of a group of people who are some of the most persecuted on the planet, who they wish to scapegoat and blame for all their problems that are caused by other things because they're actually in line with the people actually causing the problems, and I want nothing to do with it. Now, I got to tell you, the president has just released this letter. The White House, I should have. He is in London, and I want you to read. This is to brand new American citizens from the President of the United States. Dear fellow American, on behalf of my administration and the American people, congratulations on becoming a citizen of our great and glorious nation. America